You might think I was reincarnated as a guy in a wheelchair, but what the hell am I supposed to do then? No offense, guys, seriously. The thing is, this dude wasn't reincarnated or anything like that. In this world, those with power have money and women, but he was sentenced to spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair. All because a group of robbers smashed him in the head with a wooden club, and as if getting robbed wasn't bad enough, he lost the use of his legs. Now he was a nobody, mocked by everyone. Everyone except his little sister, because there are stories out there where even the guy's own family is awful. Back home, the TV was showing the newest virtual reality game, while our boy was holding onto a piece of wood. This game could let him walk again and save him from the noose. Yeah, that kind of noose, my friend. His situation was that depressing. With nothing left to lose, he put on the VR headset. The blessed beauty system. Yeah, beauties, you heard that right. Although, to be fair, this manhwa definitely doesn't lack beautiful girls. The system announced that this was the realm of the gods, Empirea, an open-world game. He thought he was about to create his character and pick an overpowered class. Instead, he reincarnated as a walking dog. Just kidding. But not really. He was actually born as a wolf that walks on 2 legs. Even he couldn't believe it. At least he could walk again, right? Then the system appeared, telling him he was just a low-class canine. He thought he was completely screwed because his stats were absolute trash. But the feeling of walking again was so incredible that he started howling. The girls nearby pointed at him and laughed. To them, he was nothing more than a low-level mutt, and now they wanted to kill him, so they could eat him. When one of them attacked, he blocked her with a wooden club, but then 5 women surrounded the wolf. Luckily, his pack was nearby. Now the numbers were even, at least from his point of view, so they started smashing the women with wooden clubs, and honestly, they were making some pretty questionable poses. The protagonist realized this was his chance, so he unleashed the Supreme Club Strike, and yes, he sent that woman straight to the cemetery, earning experience points. Now he was excited. He just needed to defeat more women. After beating every last one of them with his club, he checked the system. That's when he realized he could improve his talent by killing both humans and monsters. You'd think he'd go hunting, but hey, I've got a dog friend right here. So he started with just one. That scumbag literally smashed his own packmate, and he didn't stop there. He went after every single one of them. After landing 100 club swings on the wolves, he drank an EXP potion. The guy was thrilled to see his level rising. Then he looked to the side. There were even more packmates. You can already guess what he did. He killed every single one of them. By now, he was getting stronger fast because his stats were increasing at an insane rate. But then he looked to the side and got the biggest scare of his life. Because you're still not subscribed to our channel. Meanwhile, on the other side of the forest, a group of humans was coming to hunt the protagonist. The pink-haired girl then scolds them, saying they've gone too far, even if it's just a game. Her assistant suggests she force a logout, but Lingji refuses because of the 3-hour penalty and her contract to promote the game. Soon, the player approaches her, commenting that he heard the game uses the player's real body shape. In a swift move, the werewolf charges at the group. He then smashes the blonde player's head with his club. As the player turns, he's startled to see the werewolf. At this, one of his companions yells for them to take it down. As soon as he's hit, the player is surprised by the damage and warns that this isn't a weak werewolf calling for help. The werewolf then states it won't be hard to fight 3 low-health players, thanks to the potions he collected. He then attacks the other player with a powerful kick. Before long, the last of the 3 players is defeated. As he looks at the fallen players, he laments that only 1 potion drops from each of them, as it's not enough. The girl watches the scene and wonders how it's possible that this wild beast seems to be helping her. The werewolf then offers her the potions, even though his internal plan was to kill her too. The girl thanks him, surprised to discover the creature can talk. Soon, Lingji gets a notification that the promotion is about to start and replies that she's fine and ready for the event. Realizing he's near the newbie village, he decides to move away to kill other demonic beasts and avoid becoming a target. Once in a safe spot, he decides to watch the game's official promotional clip to understand what the other players are doing. In the video, he sees the same girl he met before, now surrounded by countless players fighting wild beasts in the newbie village. With that, he concludes that life as a wild beast is better and gets ready to hunt other monsters. He then starts defeating all the weak werewolves he comes across. After collecting 10 enhancement fragments, he sits on a pile of bodies and declares he can finally upgrade his talent. A system notification informs him that his talent has been upgraded, granting his normal attacks a 6% critical hit chance. Although pleased with the crit chance, he wonders why he only gets level 0 status points and decides to investigate for clues. Checking the description, he discovers he needs 10 points to forge a higher level one and calculates he'll have to defeat at least 100 enemies. Aiming to find higher-level beasts, he decides to test his strength first on the common werewolves nearby. With a single blow, he defeats a level 1 werewolf. As a notification informs him he's leveled up to level 2, he realizes the status points are still level 0 and concludes he needs to find stronger beasts. Right in front of him, an imposing-looking beast appears, and he believes he's finally found what he was looking for. He notices that although the opponent is strong, it's still level 1. And with potions and being level 2 himself, he doesn't need to retreat. As they trade their first blows, both take damage on impact. He is then surprised by the opponent's damage, questioning how it can be so high. The battle continues with both of them trading blows with their clubs. 5 minutes later, he admits he only won the fight by luck thanks to the potion Feng Lingjie gave him. With a smile, he celebrates finally getting a level 1 status enhancement point. Then, a system notification informs him that he has acquired a werewolf club item. He's amazed to realize a piece of equipment dropped as a reward. While comparing the two clubs, he decides to check the official website to see if he can sell the item for 300 yen. Soon, he accesses the game's virtual store. Noticing the item is rare, he decides it doesn't matter and will sell it for 260 yuan just to try. As soon as he confirms the sale, the system prompts him to exit the store interface. A mail notification appears on the screen, and he orders the message to be opened. The system informs him that the item has been purchased and the money transferred to his bank account, which surprises him with its speed. With that, he asks the system to connect to his phone and open the confirmation message. Seeing the confirmation that his bank account received the money, he celebrates that the plan actually worked. With that, he yells to his sister, Lu Yi, that he's not a failure anymore and can finally make money to help her. Lu Chen then states that the experts were right about the business opportunities and announces he's going after the special beasts. With a new goal, he charges the other werewolves and attacks without hesitation. He then swings his club, landing a solid hit on another beast's head. Giving the enemy no chance to react, he finishes it with a precise blow to the neck. 20 minutes later, a system notification chimes as he defeats the last werewolf. With that, he celebrates finally reaching level 3, with his attack, defense, and health increased. Still, he laments that after defeating about 20 werewolves, not a single item has dropped. He then wonders why he doesn't try to kill a special level 2 beast. Scanning the area, he discovers 5 special werewolves and targets a level 2 one. He figures that if he can kill a level 2, he can repeatedly defeat the other 4 beasts. As soon as he attacks the new creature, he realizes his damage is surprisingly low. He then questions why the enemy's attack is only slightly higher than the previous beasts. Next, the two exchange a quick and intense series of blows with their clubs. He finally understands that the name Agile means the monster's attack speed is high, but its damage is low. Knowing he can cycle through the 4 beasts, he prepares to face the remaining enemies. 40 minutes later, he leans on his club over the bodies of all the defeated special beasts. As soon as the battle ends, he asks the system to show his stats. The screen reveals that his werewolf bloodline talent has been upgraded to level 1, with a 10% critical hit rate. He then comments that upgrading his talent to level 1 and getting a 10% critical hit rate isn't bad at all. He then realizes that with each upgrade, he can choose one of 3 rewards to increase his attributes by 50%. Without a second thought, he decides he'll choose the strong option. The system confirms the stat upgrade, increasing his power, agility, physical attack, and defense. With a smile, he celebrates that he's also become a special beast, and, now unstoppable, he'll continue killing the other beasts. Half an hour later, he notes his new title is too long, but decides to sell the club he got first. Opening the trade interface, he decides to sell all 5 clubs he owns for 300 yen each. He then states that since he's already level 4, it's time to head somewhere farther away. As a message notification pops up, he orders the system to connect to his phone and open it. Seeing the purchase confirmations, he shouts that all the items sold immediately. With that, he celebrates earning 1,700 yuan in one afternoon and promises his sister, Lu Yi, can have new clothes. Elsewhere, Lingjie celebrates finally getting the club and wonders how the player Only I'm Wild got so many. She then suspects he's the highest level player in the area and decides she needs to go see him. Checking the area rankings, Lingjie notices there's no player named Only I'm Wild in the top 500. She then realizes he isn't even in the top 500 and wonders how that's possible. Suddenly, she concludes he must be an illegal trader, but is interrupted by her assistant calling her for the live stream. As the stream begins, Feng Lingjie greets everyone and shows the newbie village, warning that there are over 100,000 players there. In the middle of the crowd, one player complains about being stuck for over 2 hours, while another threatens a player next to him for poking him. The chaos continues with more people complaining about the pushing and the overcrowded server. With that, she suggests that players buy a club, because even though it's a level 1 weapon, they'll be able to get past hundreds of people. While watching the stream, Lu Chen understands why the club is so popular and feels lucky to be a wild beast far from that mess. He then closes the stream window. Noticing 4 special beasts nearby, he decides he'll start the slaughter right there. A system notification informs him that he's killed a level 4 sturdy werewolf and received points, a talent fragment, and a stat point. Right after, another message confirms the death of a level 3 strong werewolf, granting more rewards. With that, he celebrates that after upgrading his talent and stats, it's not hard to kill beasts 1 level above his own. Without difficulty, he lands a final blow and defeats the creature. Upon killing a level 5 agile werewolf and getting another club, he celebrates earning another 300 yuan. Analyzing the weapon's attributes, he's stunned to see it's an S-class club. He then realizes the item grants additional bonus types, like 2 points in power that convert to more attack and defense. He concludes that the bonus makes it a god-tier item for level 1 players and starts to wonder how much he should sell it for. To get an idea of the price, he opens the game's forum, hoping someone can give him a reliable opinion. In his post, he asks for the item's price, but other players are doubtful and accuse him of just lying about having such a rare weapon. Seeing the replies, he complains that there are too many trolls on the forum. Suddenly, he realizes he forgot about the market and orders the system to open the trade interface immediately. He then sets the auction and buyout prices, thinking it's better to sell the item as quickly as possible. With that, he expects the item to sell within half an hour and starts calculating how much he could earn in a month at this rate. While one player believes the auction is a fake, the female player beside him disagrees, since the prices of the 5 previous clubs were normal. A system notification informs him that he killed a sturdy werewolf, captured life energy, and obtained a talent fragment and an evolution point. Then, another message confirms he obtained the damaged werewolf mace item. He then celebrates earning another 300 yuan and reaching level 5, but realizes he needs to go deeper to get better rewards. Suddenly, he spots a monster that looks quite exceptional. As he gets closer, he identifies the creature as a level 6 werewolf with a 2-star quality prefix. With a war cry, he charges forward to crush the new opponent. The battle begins with both trading blows and dealing damage to each other, until he lands a double critical strike. As soon as he defeats the monster, he celebrates getting 2-star materials and decides to focus on enemies with exceptional in their names. At the end of the day, he laments how the experience needed to level up becomes difficult and decides to check his stats. He then analyzes his new attributes and laments that his prefixes are getting so long they make him easy to spot. Tired after a long day, he decides to log off, but first, he needs to take care of the equipment he obtained. He then decides to list 9 common maces for 300 each and put the other 2 high-quality ones in the auction house. While logging off, he wonders if his sister, Lu Yi, will be surprised to learn he's already making money to support the family. As soon as he removes the helmet, he sighs, finally back. Suddenly, he notices his arm is warm and wonders if this means he might be able to regain his senses in the future. With a smile, he concludes that the second-hand headset was a great buy. A moment later, his expression changes. As he looks at the door, he laments that Lu Yi is working overtime again and will be home late. As soon as she arrives, his sister announces she's back. She then announces she's going to make a lot of money, but he scolds her for drinking outside. She explains that her company is moving to the Empyrean God Realm, which surprises him. Next, she reveals the company found great business opportunities there and that she's become the team's vice leader. He asks her to be more careful, but she retorts that she's already made up her mind since they aren't real siblings. With that, she hugs him and declares she wants to stay with him forever and take care of him for her whole life. A moment later, she pushes him back. She then asks if he's going to start with the "I don't want to be a burden" speech and reassures him about the game's success. Lu Yi explains there's a huge opportunity in the game with major companies involved and promises she will take care of him. Lu Chen then tries to tell her she doesn't have to work so hard anymore, as he's already in the game and doesn't need her care. Suddenly, he realizes she's fallen asleep on his lap. The next day, she leaves a message saying she'll find a way to help him get back on his feet and asks him to do his best. He then reflects that his little sister seems to have truly grown up. With that, he celebrates that he's still a wild monster, and after selling everything, decides to check out Feng Lingji's livestream. During the stream, Feng Lingji complains about how difficult the game is and that the top players are only just reaching level 5. She then attributes her success to the mace she bought, praising the arrogant seller who managed to sell so many items. Next, she speculates that he might be an internal test player who knows how to farm the maces. Noticing she not only has a great physique but is also a good person, he decides to give her a tip as a thank you. As soon as she receives the reward, she wonders if he was watching her live stream. With that, he declares that a new day has begun and it's time to get back to farming. 3 hours later, he celebrates that his quality has finally reached 2 stars and he's now at level 7. He then complains that his title can't be hidden and decides to head to a higher level area. With that, he wonders what his name will look like after another quality enhancement and if it will be visible from 800 meters away. Suddenly, he is startled to see he's found a named elite monster. Noticing there are dozens of special and elite monsters, he realizes he can't handle them and wonders what to do. Not knowing what to do, he tries to quickly think of a solution. He then realizes he has few healing potions, the maces are useless, and his materials aren't enough for an enhancement. Suddenly, he remembers something he had completely forgotten. Opening the reputation shop, he checks out a unique item called the Legion Recruitment Order, thinking it could be quite useful. The description reveals it allows recruiting a creature through a one-on-one duel, where the target can't have a higher level or talent than the recruiter. He decides to buy the item for 10 points, believing that just one ally won't be enough and that the order must be upgradable. Upon buying it, he's shocked to find that upgrading the order costs 500 reputation points. With no other choice, he decides to sell his 3-star materials, lamenting having to part with his hard-earned items. With that, the order is finally upgraded to level 3, allowing him to recruit 3 allies for support. Right after, he starts recruiting his new allies, and the system confirms the sturdy werewolf men are willing to join him. Quickly, the third and final werewolf also accepts the recruitment and joins his party. To ensure victory, he decides he needs to upgrade his new allies. After the upgrade, he gathers his new team and summons them to clear the area of smaller monsters. In a coordinated attack, the group advances and begins to defeat the monsters in the camp. 10 minutes later, he orders one of his allies, Erzi, to advance and attack the group's leader. As soon as the attack lands, he's surprised by the monster's power, commenting that it's not bad for a mini-boss. He then commands his team, telling one to hold back while the other engages, declaring he'll draw the enemy's aggro. As his allies attack together, the system announces that the werewolf men commander has been killed and its life energy captured. He then comments that the enemy was very strong, but he obtained 3 talent fragments and 3 evolution points as a reward. Additionally, he receives a leather shoulder guard, a wolf fur vest, and a broken stone mace. He's then astonished to see he got a green quality piece of equipment, Quinn Zakas's weapon, which was extremely durable. Analyzing the weapon, he notes it has an incredibly high attack and is reluctant to sell it. He then orders his 3 subordinates to hunt monsters in the area, targeting the level 7 to 8 werewolf men. While waiting for Zakas to respawn, he concludes his subordinates are more efficient and decides to check on the player's situation on the live stream. On the stream, Lingji encourages players to level up so the main city will open at level 10 and new professions will become available. Soon, a female player suggests they join a guild, but Lingji replies that she prefers more flexibility, since joining a guild would mean fighting for resources. Checking the guild system, he's surprised to see that famous groups and even the cyber police are already in the game. With this, he reflects that the game is becoming more and more unbelievable. 8 hours later, he wakes up and asks who's poking him. Realizing it's already 7 in the morning, he concludes that Zakas respawns every 8 hours and decides to check his character's stats. He then plans to check his stats, buy 2 equipment slots, and use them before going to fight Zakas. As soon as he realizes he's almost level 9, he wonders if his 3 subordinates were farming all night. He then praises his subordinates for being like experience machines, and states that with the new equipment, Zakas is no longer a threat. With that, he summons his allies for battle and wonders for how much the server's first green-grade equipment will sell. As soon as he defeats Zakas, he celebrates getting the stones and collects the talent fragments, evolution points, and various pieces of equipment as a reward. Noticing he got maces and an armor piece, he turns to his subordinates and asks if they also got any equipment. He's then shocked to discover they got 20 maces and concludes that recruiting allies was totally worth it. He then notices that equipment prices have dropped, but decides to sell the shoulder armor with a starting bid of 700 and a buyout of 1500. Unsure of how much to sell the green mace for, he decides he'll ask on the forum to get an idea. Right after, 2 new message notifications pop up on his screen. Seeing the items sold quickly, he disables notifications and orders his 3 subordinates to go back to hunting monsters while he checks the forum. On the forum, he wonders why white items are in high demand and realizes someone has noticed him. He then concludes it was only a matter of time before he was noticed, and decides to post about the green item to see people's reactions. After seeing the replies on the forum, he decides he'll try the price suggested in the first response, since it's a level 5 item. With that, he lists the item on the auction house with a starting bid of 1,000 and a buyout price of 5,000. Elsewhere, a female player is shocked to see the auction and tells Lingzi that the player Only I'm Wild is auctioning a green mace. Her friend then asks if Lingzi has already added him as a friend, and she replies that she believes many people must have already done so. Lingzi then asks her friend Shan Shan to track his ID and says she's found a way to add him as a friend. Unconcerned about it, he decides he'll focus on getting to level 9 first. 2.5 hours later, he's shocked to see he needs 50,000 experience points to level up, but celebrates that his attack is now over 60. In the distance, he wonders what that thing on the ground is. Soon he discovers it's 15 vials of healing potions and concludes there are more of them in the area. With that, he spots more healing potions just ahead. He then realizes he's going to make a huge profit this time. Suddenly, a female player yells that she's found the boss, and her companion agrees it must be him because of his long prefix. Right after, the player points to the mace and leather armor on his body, confirming that he is the boss. Holding the stone mace and armor, he thinks it's crazy to be caught red-handed. As soon as they identify him as Zakas, a group of players rushes forward, celebrating that they'll finally get rich, and that the maces will no longer be a monopoly of Only I'm Wild. While one female player questions if they can really defeat him, the other asserts that they can, since Only I'm Wild is only at level 6. With that, one of the players shouts not to be afraid, and for him to feel their power. The player's attack hits his head, dealing only 1 point of damage. The player then shouts, shocked, that he only managed to deal 1 point of damage. Next, the other players are stunned by the boss's defense and his total health of 1,150 points. Soon, Bai Ruyu calms them down, explaining that must be the minimum damage, and that with potions, they can slowly defeat him if they attack together. The players advance as a group, but their combined attacks only deal 1 point of damage each. With that, one of the players realizes that wasn't the minimum damage, and that their attacks are indeed ineffective. He doesn't get it, wondering if these players have lost their minds, fooling themselves about minimum damage. He then decides that, as a monster, he must play his part, and that he can't just keep attacking other monsters. He attacks a player, who shouts in shock that the blow took 1/6 of his life. As a female player yells for Xiong to take a potion, he's hit by a devastating blow. He charges again before the player can use his potion. One of the players then explains they don't have time to wait for a heal and must keep attacking in turns. While one player urges them not to panic and to focus on positioning, another complains that the boss attacks too fast. He then strikes one of the female players with a powerful blow. Realizing they can't beat him, one of the players yells for everyone to retreat. He then warns them that it's too late to run. Giving them no chance to escape, he charges forward and attacks the retreating group. After collecting 27 potions from one of the female players, he celebrates, thinking he's making a huge profit this time. He then concludes that after witnessing his strength, the players won't dare to come back, allowing him to keep hunting until level 10. In an office, a man tells them not to get discouraged. After all, it was a boss 3 levels higher than them. Soon others agree the boss's attacks were insane, and that they won't be able to beat it unless they get stronger gear or level up. Not losing faith, the man wonders how that solo player managed it, concluding that for now, their only option is to level up. He keeps wondering how a solo player could defeat such a strong boss. Seeing the notifications have stopped, he realizes the royal prince killed the gem. With a smile, he celebrates that everything sold, and he now has 25,221 in his account. Checking his emails, he decides to reply to everyone at once. In his reply, he thanks them for their support, but states he won't be adding anyone as a friend. He also says he'll send an email before selling gear so everyone can compete fairly. With that settled, he decides it's time to get back to hunting. 8 hours later, he celebrates finally reaching level 10, though he's exhausted. He managed to get 28 maces and other items. He then asks the system to show his stats, impressed by the 100,000 experience points needed to level up. Opening the reputation shop, he notices 3 new items are available: skins, bloodline, and martial arts. He then wonders what's the use of a werewolf skin, since he already is one. Reading the bloodline's description, He discovers that by combining it with a skin, he can change his attack style and transform into other monsters. He's stunned by the realization that if there's a human skin, he could turn into a human. Next, he checks the third item, martial arts, which allows him to gain the mana attribute for magical attacks and defenses. The shop offers low-level martial arts and yellow rank spell induction. He then learns the low-level martial arts technique, unlocking the mana attribute and gaining 1 mana point for every minute of meditation. Looking at his new stats, he realizes he can only meditate when martial arts is active, which he finds a bit tricky. With that, he decides he'll list all his gear for trade and auction, check on the other player's progress, and then go to sleep. While Lingzi complains about needing 20,000 experience points to level up, her friend tells her that Only I Am Wild has listed another gem for a lower price. Her friend then reports she managed to track the player to a live stream, but this time he's anonymous with the ID 9527. To thank her fans, Lingzi announces she's giving away a mace to one of the viewers in the room. With that, she congratulates anonymous user 9527 for winning the grand prize in the giveaway. Confused, he wonders what's going on. He'd only been in the live stream for a few seconds and already won a prize. When Lingzi asks for his ID, he refuses, saying he's just passing through and that she should give the gear to her fans. 3 minutes later, she asks him in a private chat why he won't accept the gear. He replies that she can just accept it and take a screenshot as proof. He then decides that since Lingji seems like a good person, he'll help her out, even if the screenshot is just to scare people off. As soon as he accepts the gift, she suggests they live stream the process of adding each other as friends and handing over the mace. At this, the viewers are stunned to see it's Only I'm Wild and that he accepted the friend request. She then thanks him for joining the stream and announces that the path to the main city, the poisonous mist forest, has opened. When he realizes she removed him from her friends list right after the announcement, he finds her behavior a bit improper. Still, he decides to let it go and, following her advice, heads to the poisonous mist forest to check it out. A sign at the forest's entrance warns that it is the only path to the main city and is inhabited by powerful creatures. Entering the forest, he wonders if he should avoid fights and just how strong the local monsters are. Suddenly, he senses the presence of spider-type monsters that look highly venomous. He's soon surprised to see the creatures are aggressive and attack him, even though he's a wild monster himself. He then commands his team, telling each to take on an enemy while he deals with the elite. With that, his team moves forward and starts attacking the poisonous spiders. After being hit by one of the attacks, he realizes he's been poisoned, but is relieved to see the damage isn't too high. 3 minutes later, he's impressed after extracting mana from the 5 creatures and getting 3-star materials, concluding the place isn't half bad. Next, he decides to check the stats of the items he got, including a spider silk bracelet and some tough spider silk. He then decides to open his 4th equipment slot to use the bracelet, which adds 6 points of physical defense and 3 of poison resistance. Suddenly, he's startled to see more spiders emerging in the forest. 5 minutes later, he realizes the area is too difficult. His 3 minions can't heal in time, so he decides to finish off the current wave of enemies and log out. As soon as he logs out, he stretches in his wheelchair and exclaims that it's been a tiring day. Suddenly, he realizes his other arm can move and wonders how that's possible. With that, he celebrates that his arm can really move, even if his fingers aren't very nimble yet. Answering the phone, he asks if his sister is coming home, but she replies that she won't be back for a while. She then explains that the game is tough and tells him there will be a surprise for him when she gets back. He then concludes that the game is magical, and that maybe he'll become a normal person by the time Lu Yi returns. The next day, back in the game, he notices that monsters respawn in waves after the elites are killed. He notes that more and more monsters keep appearing, making the situation increasingly problematic. Suddenly, a system notification informs him that one of his level 7 subordinates has died, but its recruitment token has been returned. In shock, he cries out the name of his fallen subordinate, Urzi. While drinking a healing potion, he observes the bodies of his other 2 subordinates lying on the ground. With that, he shouts that he will fight all of them. 10 minutes later, a notification informs him that he has left the poisonous mist forest and entered the newbie area. He then apologizes to his fallen subordinates. With a new plan, he decides he will equip his new recruits with poison resistance gear and fight more strategically. The next day, he notices that upgrading his 3 new recruits has stabilized his damage output, and the area is full of monsters to hunt. Suddenly, he spots another named Elite Monster, but realizes this one has many minions. He quickly identifies the creature as the Poison Widow Alisana, a level 10 Elite Monster. He then commands his team to break through the enemy's perimeter without getting greedy. Half an hour later, the battle against the Elite and its minions continues. Once the Poison Widow is defeated, a notification informs him that he has obtained talent fragments, evolution points, and various pieces of equipment. With that, he celebrates that the level 10 Elite didn't disappoint him, as he got 3 pieces of gear, one of them green. Upon analyzing the spider silk gloves, he discovers they offer poison resistance and activate a set bonus. He then realizes the fang is a necklace, and that to equip it, he needs to spend reputation points. With that, he equips the item, which grants additional poison damage for 3 seconds. He then celebrates that it will now be easier to hunt elite monsters. He is surprised by how quickly the elite monsters reappear in the area. With a smile, he shouts that he loves it and commands his subordinates to farm for materials. With that, he charges forward and attacks the newly spawned elite with his mace. At 5 in the afternoon, he celebrates that his quality has finally reached 3-star perfection and decides to check his stats. Shortly after, he analyzes his new attributes. He then decides that since his stats make up for all the hunting, it's time to check for new items in the reputation shop. He then analyzes the talent of his lesser werewolf bloodline. He decides he will upgrade his new spider bloodline to level 3. With that, he upgrades the lesser poisonous spider bloodline talent to level 3. A system notification informs him that by merging the new bloodline, his appearance will change. He is then stunned to realize he has become half spider and half werewolf. With a smile, he celebrates that his speed after the bloodline fusion is incredible, but refuses to buy a skin to change his appearance. Tired, he declares that the day was hectic, and it's time to log out to get something to eat. While checking the forums, he remembers that he sold the maces and stones he farmed for over 10,000 credits, but he still hasn't sold the spider gear. He then concludes that since players haven't reached the poisonous mist forest yet, selling it now wouldn't be profitable. Seeing on the forums that Lingji and other players went to Zakas's area, he realizes they'll soon be in the poisonous mist forest and decides he needs to log in quickly. As the players rush to attack Zakas, Lingji warns them not to be hasty, reminding them that last time they were defeated by a single group. Another group moves forward, with a female player alerting everyone to be careful with the number of people and to pay attention to the ore to establish an advantage. Suddenly, one of the female players draws Ling's attention to something that appeared in the sky. With that, the werewolf commander charges forward and yells for Zakas to hang on as he is coming to save him. The players are astonished by the creature's speed, and without understanding what is happening, one of them shouts not to panic, as summons can't be stronger than the summoner. One of the players warns that when Zakas's health drops below 30%, he summons Black Burton and orders each group to use one person to block him. As a player leaps to attack, he comments that a summon with such a long name must be a game joke, although it's taller than Zakas himself. Upon hitting the target and dealing only 1 point of damage, the player wonders why he couldn't penetrate its defense. A female player then screams that she can't believe what she's seeing, as the creature has over 2,000 health points. One of the players tries to calm the group, telling them not to panic and to focus on attacking Zakas, since the creature's only function is to tank. He then warns them that if they want to attack Zakas, they shouldn't blame him for being ruthless. With that, he lands a double critical hit and defeats one of the players. Immediately after, several surrounding players start taking poison damage. As the players are stunned by the summoned creature, one of them yells that Xiao San died in an instant, even though he had 250 health. He then turns to the group and asks why they are staring at him, questioning if he is that attractive. Without giving them a chance to react, he charges forward and poisons several players, who complain that they can't even drink a potion in time. Soon, the battlefield is filled with fallen players, defeated by the poison. One of the players then shouts that the creature is the real boss, and that they must organize to fight it. With that, he apologizes to Lingzi and attacks her, as she still has a little health left. The blow lands squarely, dealing considerable damage. She then screams in shock that the poison is dealing 60 damage per second. He celebrates that he hit the jackpot and calls his 3 subordinates to collect the potions. He then decides he needs to check the players' movements on Lingzi's stream, believing they must be disheartened. On the stream, Lingzi announces that the attempt to defeat Zakas failed and that she didn't expect Black Burton to appear out of nowhere. A player then complains that Black Burton is too strong, while another insists that only I am wild, only managed to get through because he's an insider from Tianheng. With that, the player Rock Spear King says he's tired and will log out for now. One of the players then suggests they ask Lingzi, since they're friends, to ask Only I Am Wild how to deal with Zakaz and Black Burton. Pressured by the other players, who insist she should at least try, Lingzi finally agrees to ask. In a message, Lingzi explains that they are desperate and asks for some guidance on defeating Zakaz and Black Burton. He then replies that Black Burton doesn't always appear and suggests she try again the next day at the same time. Seeing Zakaz, he decides that since they're there, they'll take him down too and orders his subordinates to get ready for work. The next day, he and his subordinates advance through the forest, as his gear set is almost complete. With that, he wonders what kind of monsters he will encounter ahead. Suddenly, the tail of a huge serpent grazes past him. He is then amazed to see that there are even more giant snakes than there were spiders before. Without hesitation, he orders his subordinates to attack to test the enemy. Seeing his subordinates get poisoned, he realizes the opponent's poison attack is 20, just like the Spider Queen's. 10 minutes later, surrounded by even more serpents, he complains that the number of enemies is too large and that Tianheng is trying to scare the players. He then prepares for a long battle, distributes 80 healing potions to each of his subordinates, and asks them to hold the front line. 2 hours later, exhausted, he wonders how long the hunt will continue and decides to log out to take a nap. The next day, he states that he won't delay the battle any longer, and that as soon as he logs in, he will start running to cross the Sea of Snakes. Upon returning to the game, he is stunned to see that his 3 subordinates are still fighting, as they should have disappeared. Moreover, he notices that they have all leveled up and become level 9 monsters. Completely shocked, he wonders how that is possible and what the hell is happening in the game. He then realizes they took turns resting and hunting monsters, which is why they leveled up. With a smile, he concludes this perfectly solves his problem of splitting experience. He then decides he's killed enough giant pythons to buy the Giant Fusion Python Bloodline, even if it's expensive. Upon buying it, he obtains the Lesser Snake Bloodline talent, whose attacks deal damage based on the target's max health. He then realizes that with the 10% damage increase per stack, the poison is more potent than the spiders. With this, he laments that he's really going all in on the path of ugliness. He then decides that as long as he gets stronger, the sacrifice is worth it. Next, he charges forward and attacks one of the snakes with his mace. He then celebrates that the poison can be stacked, with one lasting 5 seconds and the other increasing damage with each stack. With a battle cry, he commands his minions to push forward and get off this map once and for all. And so, the group pushes forward, carving a path through the Sea of Snakes. He then celebrates that they've finally made it out of that area. Suddenly, he comes face to face with a purple monster and realizes he's finally found a boss. Soon, he identifies the creature as the Poisonous Mist Forest Lord, a level 12 boss. He then observes the powerful creature, which appears to be a fusion of a spider and a snake. He decides to take the risk. With his 3 minions, he believes he has a chance, since there are no other monsters around. The boss then licks her lips, ready for battle. In a swift move, she shoots her web, trapping his 3 minions and immobilizing them. Surprised, he realizes the boss has skills and that the battle will be challenging. With a shout, he tries to break free from the webs. He then realizes his 3 minions don't have enough attack power to break free. With that, he focuses and strikes the boss with a powerful blow. He notices his damage is slightly higher, but the boss has over 4,000 health and heals quickly. Next, the two exchange a series of intense blows. Soon, a notification informs him that his movement and attack speed have been reduced by 10%. He then concludes that with any other team, the battle would be impossible, but thankfully, his speed is fast enough thanks to his spider bloodline. With that, he decides his 3 minions can help now. The boss then turns and looks at them. In an instant, she traps them again with her web. He then realizes the containment skill has no cooldown, and that he'll have to rely on himself to win. With that, he decides to use a kiting strategy to wear her down slowly. Half an hour later, a notification informs him that he has defeated the boss and acquired several equipment items and materials. With a smile, he celebrates that the effort was not in vain, as he got 4-star materials, 5 items, a green helmet, and even a piece of blue equipment. Upon analyzing the blue armor, he notes that it offers high physical and magical defense, poison resistance, and a special skill. With this, he decides to stay in the area to farm Evelynshire blue equipment, certain that he will make a huge profit. Half an hour later, he is surprised to see that she respawned much faster than Zaka's. He then concludes that the Poisonous Mist Forest was designed to keep players busy, which is why the respawn rates need to be faster. 10 hours later, he feels exhausted, but celebrates that he has finally obtained 17 Poisonous Mist sets and several other items. With a smile, he assumes the players must be suffering in the poisonous mist forest, and that it's time to cash in. Lu Chen analyzes the stats of a new helm, commenting that despite the high reputation cost for the 8th slot, the item can be sold for a good price. Next, he checks the game's forum and notices that all the players are desperate because of the poisonous mist forest. Soon, he notes that no one has reached the 3rd level yet or obtained the poisonous mist set, and he plans to use this to get rich. So, Lu Chen decides the fastest way to make an impact is to join Lingji's livestream, wondering how she's doing. Meanwhile, Feng Lingji warns her team that they are about to be defeated by a monster once again. After their defeat, the lilac-haired young woman puts her hand on her head, surrounded by messages from other players complaining about the difficulty. Thus, Lingji laments how the poisonous mist forest is unfair to small teams like hers. Hearing her teammates, she decides she needs to beg the player Only I Am Wild for items, even though he removed her from his friends list. So, she sends him a direct message, asking if he has already cleared the forest and if he might have any resistance gear to sell. To everyone's surprise on the stream, the player with the wolf avatar simply replies that he has the gear. Feng Lingji reacts with surprise, as he didn't just mention one piece, but the complete poisonous mist set. Immediately, she offers to buy a set and asks how he prefers to trade, but is caught off guard by his question about how many she wants. The unexpected response leaves her speechless, repeating his question to herself. At the same time, the other players watching the stream react with disbelief, accusing him of lying. Though hesitant, Lingji decides to test him and asks if she can buy 3 sets. Soon, Lu Chen agrees to the trade and asks her to create a private room on the trading platform, requesting the room ID and password for delivery. Lingji then celebrates with her team, announcing she got 3 poisonous mist sets and still can't believe it. With that, the trade begins, and the poisonous mist set appears in the trading window, with confirmation that everything is in order. Next, the total amount of 21,000 gold coins is transferred to complete the transaction. After the trade, Feng Lingji thanks him excitedly, confirming that her team can now finally cross the spider forest. Lu Chen smiles as he sees his inbox flooded with messages, remarking on how effective the advertising was, but scoffs at the players who still doubt him. He then announces a personal auction for 10 p.m. in the auction area, deciding to wait the 20 minutes left for Evelynshire to respawn. 10 minutes later, at the live auction event, Feng Lingji, wearing a red dress, asks the audience to calm down, as the auction will begin shortly. Meanwhile, Lu Chen thinks to himself that he's not used to this transformation, but he'll put up with it for the money. The audience reacts with surprise and admiration, praising the new gear and the seller's strategy of auctioning everything in sets of 3. With that, Feng Lingji begins to announce the bids, which rise quickly until she asks if anyone in the audience wishes to offer an even higher amount. Soon, she announces the final bid of 9,800 for buyer number 711, and after the countdown, bangs the gavel to declare the lot sold. With the result, Lu Chen celebrates that he's making a fortune, as the values of the other sold lots are also displayed. The crowd at the auction is shocked, wondering where he gets so many sets and expressing admiration that he managed to get them all by himself. While the audience speculates that he must be an employee of the game company, Lingji announces that the appetizers are over, and now it's time for the main course. The crowd reacts with astonishment, wondering how many sets he really has and rushing to place their bids. In an instant, bid paddles shoot up everywhere, signaling the start of a fierce bidding war. With that, Feng Lingji announces a bid of 45,000 yuan from participant number 003, while Lu Chen celebrates the number of rich people present at the auction. Without hesitation, Feng Lingji bangs the gavel and congratulates buyer number 003, selling the first lot for 45,000. Immediately, she announces the second lot, consisting of 3 more sets of the poisonous mist, starting again at 15,000. Defiantly, the same buyer raises their paddle, offering 45,000 all at once for the second lot. At this, another group of players remarks that buyer 003 wants to monopolize the items. They urge their leader to secure a set for the level 10 city. The group's leader stands and bids 47,000, outbidding the offer. Then, a third player enters the fray, raising the bid to 50,000. Lingji finalizes the sale of the second lot for 50,000 to number 027 and announces the last lot, 5 sets, starting at 25,000. The crowd reacts in shock at the number of items, the high minimum increment, and the pressure of this being the last chance to buy. A single bid of 90,000 is made, silencing everyone. While one player laments that the last 5 sets are already sold, Lingji finalizes the sale to buyer number 042, marveling at the participants' wealth. The group that lost the bid withdraws, complaining that it's impossible to get the items with so many rich players on the server. With the auction over, Feng Lingji thanks everyone. As a reward, she reveals that an even more terrifying challenge awaits them. The remaining audience panics, questioning how anything could be worse than the Serpent Tide and doubting her information. She then reveals there is one more piece of equipment that could determine their success in the poisonous forest. The crowd is baffled, wondering how only I'm Wild could still have more gear and what power this new item might hold. She then announces that the main course is over and reveals the dessert, the Evelynshire Guard, a blue-quality armor with extraordinary powers. Feng Lingji confirms the item for sale is the Evelynshire Guard and invites everyone to see its stats for themselves. The audience erupts upon realizing it's the server's first blue item, with incredible defense and poison resistance, plus a unique skill. The players protest, saying this isn't dessert, but the auction's real main event, and they demand to know the price. Without further ado, Lingji announces the auction for the 3 pieces, starting at 15,000 with a minimum increment of 2,000. Immediately bids skyrocket. Players declare the item is well worth it, and that the seller is unbeatable. The first gavel falls quickly, selling the first item for 60,000, the second item sells right after for 65,000, and finally the last item sells for 63,000, ending the auction. Back in his room, Liu Chen calculates that after fees, he profited almost 400,000 yuan, and his total savings now exceed 450,000. Though satisfied, he reflects for a moment and decides it's still not enough, choosing to save a little more. In his wheelchair, Liu Chen wonders if anyone will make it through the forest, but decides it doesn't matter and that he'll go to sleep. Meanwhile, in the game, the leader of the Sword Guild declares that they, along with other groups, will begin a joint attack on the poisonous mist forest. At the order to advance, all the players rush towards the forest, determined to reach the main level 10 city. Leading the charge, Feng Lingji now moves confidently among the spiders, easily repelling their attacks. Lingji tells her team to hold on a little longer, even though they're tired, as another player announces they finally obtained the gloves needed to enter the Serpent Tide. In the heat of the battle against the snakes, one of the leaders yells for them to hold formation and not to forget teams 15 and 16, while Lingji urges everyone forward. At 4:50 in the morning, Feng Lingji leads the group out of the area, celebrating that they've finally crossed the Serpent Tide and must be the first group to do so. Suddenly, she tells everyone to look ahead, wondering if that isn't the most terrifying thing that Only I'm Wild had mentioned. The level 12 boss of the poisonous mist forest, Lord Evelynshire, appears imposingly before them. A player identifies her, and confident they can defeat her, tells everyone to rest for a moment while he initiates the attack. Instantly, Evelynshire lunges forward and strikes the player with a swift blow. The boss then unleashes an area of effect attack that traps several players, making one of them wonder how Only I'm Wild managed to defeat her. Facing imminent defeat, a player laments that they're about to be sent back, meaning they fought all night for nothing. The next morning, Liu Chen remarks that them facing Evelynshire wasn't a bad thing. He then instructs his team to stop gathering resources so they can leave the starter area. Back in the game, Liu Chen realizes Evelynshire's crowd control skills are too good to pass up. He then accesses the reputation store to buy a martial arts compendium. He complains that the price has doubled, but he needs it anyway. With the item in hand, he uses it to transform the skill into Spider Silk Bandage. He then analyzes the new skill and notes that, luckily, he had already stored hundreds of pieces of silk. Now, in his new form, Liu Chen summons his wolf companions and orders them to advance. 10 minutes later, he reaches a fork in the road. He decides to explore the Beast Mountain Range, as his current identity would prevent him from entering the main city. He's surprised by how vast the map of the Beast Mountain Range is. So, he calls his companions to explore the area, looking for suitable monsters to recruit. Along the way, he spots an agile wolf-like creature. Next, he sees a tiger creature with high attack power. He also finds a thick-skinned bear creature, but concludes that none of the 3 are suitable for his needs. With that, he and his team arrive at a gloomy cemetery called Chaos Burial Hill, guessing he'll find special creatures there. As he gets closer, a system notification warns him that his newbie protection has ended, and he should be careful upon entering. Suddenly, a skeletal hand erupts from the ground right in front of him. Right after, a level 24 Stygian Stygian nymph reveals itself before him. Lu Chen is stunned. He didn't expect the creature's level to be so high. The Stygian nymph then launches a skull-shaped energy projectile at him. The attack hits all his wolf companions, dealing significant area of effect damage. Lu Chen quickly realizes the creature's damage is terrifying. It's exactly the kind of subordinate he needs. Suddenly, several other ghostly creatures emerge in the cemetery, surrounding Lu Chen and his allies. Lu Chen orders his companions to attack, even as they all take more damage from the enemies. As the creatures advance, he runs to take cover behind one of the tombstones. Noting how scary the creature is, he decides to test his new skill. He tells his companions to hold their position while he lures one over. 2 minutes later, Lu Chen finally uses his new skill, shouting its name, Spider Silk Bandage. He then realizes the skill activates from his belly, and he complains about the awkward pose he has to strike to use it. 10 minutes later, the system announces the successful capture of the Stygian nymph. Lu Chen immediately decides to check its stats. He's impressed by the creature's high attack power and decides to upgrade the recruitment order to get another one. 15 minutes later, Lu Chen celebrates getting a second nymph. This triggers a territory mission for founding a 5-member force. The mission reward is then revealed: the right to use the area and the title, Fearless and Bold. He concludes that establishing a territory is great, but he needs to choose a higher level area to prevent other players from reaching it easily. He decides that Quan Yun Peak, the highest point in the Beast Mountain range, is perfect. He remembers there's a level 25 Tiger King there. Deep in the forest, the eye of a powerful creature opens. Upon finding the Tiger King, Lu Chen notes its imposing presence. He's relieved to see it hasn't brought any minions. He orders his team to prepare for ranged attacks, while he takes the front line to start the battle. In a single blow, the tiger lunges forward and strikes Lu Chen with devastating force. Surprised by the attack's speed and damage, Lu Chen realizes he can't take many more hits. He orders everyone to attack at once. In response, his entire team moves in, attacking the Tiger King with a barrage of coordinated strikes. 40 minutes later, with the tiger defeated, the system gives Lu Chen a choice: kill it for rewards or drive it away to complete the mission. With a shout, he chooses to drive the creature away. He then sighs in relief, glad the task is finally over. The system congratulates him on completing the mission and instructs him to clear the remaining creatures to rename the peak. He decides to call it Renai Peak. Next, checking the effect of the Fearless and Bold title, he's impressed to find the health bonus is percentage-based. Excited, Lu Chen declares the game is getting interesting. He orders everyone to start clearing the area, as he is now the leader of these creatures. His new team begins to defeat and capture various monsters on the mountain, earning quality points with each victory. During the hunt, the system announces he has obtained a new item, the Spiked Wolf Fang Club. As he gets another item, Lu Chen celebrates the new equipment and motivates everyone to keep pushing forward. After the hunt, Lu Chen announces he has finally reached level 12, which unlocks access to the Moon Valley Secret Realm. The system then explains that secret realms are a special game mechanic, divided into solo and multiplayer modes, with no entry limits. Inside an ice cave, Lu Chen wonders if the new content is just dungeons, commenting that the game loves to create extravagant things. He then instructs his 3 wolves to level up outside, warning them not to fight more than 5 monsters at a time and to rest when needed. Upon interacting with the entrance, the system informs him that he can insert up to 2 items to set and multiply the instance's rewards. From this, he deduces that if he puts in weapons, the monsters will drop weapons, and if he puts in clothes, he'll get clothes in return. So he wonders if it wouldn't be more cost-effective to use 4-star or higher materials to maximize his gains. Then, holding a 4-star material, he smiles and calculates that if the monsters drop up to 5 times more, he'll make a fortune. After the system confirms his entry, Lu Chen enters the secret realm and is impressed by how large the place is. Immediately, a global announcement informs everyone that the player Only I'm Wild has discovered the realm and received the title Pioneer of the Moon. Other players, including Feng Lingji, react with shock, impressed that he's already at level 12 and has obtained another rare title. Inside the dungeon, Lu Chen complains about the announcement, questioning why there had to be so much fanfare about his achievement. Suddenly, a pack of silver moon wolves charges toward him to attack. Unfazed, he prepares to fight, reminding himself that he's only there to collect materials. He then faces the monsters, commenting that luckily the wolves aren't strong and he can handle 5 of them at once without any pressure. Upon defeating one of the wolves, the system confirms he's obtained several talent fragments, making Lu Chen celebrate that the spoils were indeed multiplied by 5. With that, he continues to fight the silver wolves, defeating them with ease. An hour later, Lu Chen celebrates celebrates having leveled up and gathered over 1,000 materials in such a short time. With his newly updated stats, he now possesses far superior attack and defense power. He then reflects that after adding the word king to his name, he has become a boss, but he still doesn't know where to find the enhancement materials. Looking toward the end of the cave, he concludes that only the final boss is left, but with his high HP and poison damage, he isn't afraid. Liu Chen calls it weak for only having 6,000 health, and after attacking, he realizes that he's actually the one who's become too strong. After defeating the Silver Moonwolf King, he celebrates obtaining 35-star materials, which will earn him 300,000 prestige. Soon, a system announcement informs everyone that the secret realm has been cleared and will close in 5 minutes, much to the frustration of other players. With his new materials, Liu Chen decides to use them to fully upgrade his recruitment order, receiving a new quest to set up a camp. Outside, he orders his subordinates to stop training, as it's time to expand the team. Half an hour later, with a larger legion, he instructs his new recruits to gather wood and stone for the camp, promising they will level up together. Back in the real world, Liu Chen smiles in his wheelchair, amazed at having earned 500,000 yuan in less than a week. Suddenly, he raises his fist and realizes his arm is completely normal again, and that the upper part of his body has been restored. Excited, he calls out to Liu Yi, shouting that he has feeling in his upper body and will soon be a normal person again. Sitting in his chair, Liu Chen notes that his thigh is getting warm and will be the next to recover. But first, he's going to buy a house for himself and Liu Yi. He then finds an apartment listing on his phone, and upon seeing the refund policy, decides to go the next day to surprise his sister. Meanwhile, at the National Security Agency of Country C, an important meeting is taking place. Inside, the Special Action Group leader, Li Manhwa, questions Director Lin about creating a task force for a game, but is told that Empyrean God Realm is not as simple as it seems. The director explains that not only they, but governments and militaries worldwide are participating, as he believes the game could change the future of humanity. With that, he speculates they'll see more of what's happening when the second version of the game is released and asks about their agent's progress. Li Manhwa admits they are still stuck in the poisonous mist forest, and the director instructs him to seek out Only I'm Wild for help. Finally, Director Lin hands over the information they've gathered on the player and orders Li Manhwa to befriend him at all costs. The next day, Liu Chen arrives at the sales office, unaware that he's being watched by Li Manhwa and his men. A real estate agent approaches him and offers to help. He replies that he'd like to see a small apartment. Meanwhile, Li Manhwa's agents question if that's really their target, but he confirms the identity and orders his team to get ready to move. The agent then shows him the model, assuring him of the property's quality and mentioning that the apartment he's looking for is the last one available. Persuaded by the salesperson's insistence, Liu Chen decides to buy the property as a small surprise for Liu Yi. Suddenly, a pink-haired woman interrupts him, warning him not to buy the apartment because the place has problems. She then addresses the crowd, shouting that the complex has serious quality issues and might even collapse. The other customers start whispering worriedly, considering it's better to believe her than to risk their life savings. The agent calls security to remove the woman, who insists she has proof and just wants to stop more people from falling for the scam. Faced with the commotion, Liu Chen thinks to himself that, true or not, it's best not to make the payment right now. A manager then orders the guards to get rid of the woman quickly and not to hesitate to use force. One of the guards moves forward to handle the disturbance. As he passes, the guard shoves Liu Chen's wheelchair and tells him to get out of the way, calling him a cripple. The man then grabs the woman by the arm, telling her to come with them outside, while she resists and screams for help. As the scene unfolds, Liu Chen watches everything with interest. At the same time, other onlookers start filming, predicting the video will get a lot of views. The guard orders the woman to stop talking and leave with them, while she begs the crowd to help, claiming she's there for them. Just then, Liu Chen intervenes, grabbing the man's arm and questioning why he's bullying a woman like that. The guard insults him and tries to kick him, but Liu Chen blocks the blow with his leg, surprising himself with his own strength. With that, another guard approaches with a baton, as the first one yells for them to beat him senseless. However, the approaching guard is already stumbling back with a bloody mouth before he can even attack. Next, Liu Chen stops the baton strike with his bare hand, realizing he hasn't just gotten stronger, but much faster too. The manager then yells at his employee, asking what he's afraid of, and telling him to flip the wheelchair over. As soon as the guard tries to push him from behind, Liu Chen spins his chair around and shoves him back forcefully. Before the fight can continue, a voice calls out, telling them not to worry because they've arrived. Immediately, Li Manhwa and his agents appear, demanding to know how the guards dare to bully their young master. Without giving them a chance to answer, Li Muhua's team neutralizes all the guards who beg for mercy. One of the fallen men on the ground complains, asking why the young master didn't say anything sooner and just played dumb. Li Muhua then apologizes to Lu Chen for the scare and says he'll take care of the rest. Meanwhile, Lu Chen wonders if he's also from the Empyrean God's realm. A dress shoe steps firmly on the ground, announcing a new arrival. A man in a suit appears, smoking. He introduces himself as the manager of the Jiangong group and asks who dares to cause trouble in his establishment. The name tag on his jacket identifies him as Mr. Huang, manager of the Jiangong group. While Li Muhua makes a call to confirm the man's identity, Mr. Huang taunts him, saying that no one in the city dares to mess with his group. Calmly, Li Muhua ends the call and informs the manager that he has less than 10 minutes left. Finding the situation amusing, Mr. Huang gives him 1 minute and orders his goons to get rid of everyone. The two men approach, assuring the manager it won't even take a minute as they are fighting champions. Then one of them leaps towards Li Muhua, shouting that he hates arrogant people more than anything. Effortlessly, Li Muhua blocks the attack with his foot and slams the attacker to the ground. Immediately, he turns and lands a powerful punch to the second goon's stomach. The blow sends the man flying backward, leaving Mr. Huang completely shocked by the scene. With an intimidating smile, Li Muhua approaches and asks the manager where he went wrong. Terrified, the man apologizes and offers his resignation. Despite the apology, Li Muhua attacks him with a punch to the chest. With all the men on the floor, he declares that he will make anyone who dares to provoke his young master regret it for the rest of their lives. The crowd reacts in amazement, speculating that the young man in the wheelchair must be the son of a powerful family, and that this was all just a test. Theatrically, Li Muhua announces that the 3-year period is over, while a shocked Lu Chen wonders how they can just make up a story like that. Then, Lu Chen laments that he just wanted a normal life, making Li Muhua think that the young man is an even better actor than he is. 3 minutes later, the police arrive and arrest manager Huang Deifa and the senior management of the Jiangong group for a long list of crimes. As he's being led away, the manager regrets not imagining that a disabled person in a wheelchair could have such a terrifying background. One of the police officers then apologizes for their negligence, but Li Muhua dismisses him, saying he needs to discuss important matters with the young master. Soon after, Li Muhua suggests they find a quiet place to talk, and Lu Chen agrees. As he follows him, Lu Chen reflects that the man must have a prestigious background and hopes that what he wants isn't too much trouble. Before they leave, the pink-haired woman thanks Lu Chen, surprised by his power, but he says he's also grateful to her for alerting everyone. With that, Li Muhua informs her that he and the young master have business to attend to and asks his men to thank the woman for her help. At a restaurant, Lu Chen directly asks who they are and what they want with him. Li Muhua explains they need help from Only I Am Wild. When questioned, he reveals that their methods allow them to bypass security systems, like those in banks. Upon hearing this, Lu Chen realizes that these people are truly not simple. Then, Li Muhua explains that they have 500 people trapped in the Serpentide and offers him a card that entitles him to a mansion as a reward for his help. Calmly, Lu Chen refuses the offer, arguing that it's too large a reward for such a small favor. Finally, he pushes the card back, stating that he doesn't like to owe favors and that he will achieve what he wants with his own 2 hands. Li Muhua then offers a new deal, a card with a 30% discount on any Changsheng Group property, plus a promise to protect his and his family's privacy. With that, Lu Chen accepts the offer, but questions why they put so much effort into a simple game. He is informed that governments and militaries from all over the world are involved. So, he instructs them to go to the poisonous mist forest between 7 and 7:30 that evening, and then he takes his leave. Li Muhua is confused and asks how they will get through, but Lu Chen simply replies that they'll find out when they get there. As he walks away, he thinks that while the discount is valuable, the protection of his and his sister's privacy is what's most important, concluding that it's worth cooperating a little. That night, at 7, one of Li Muhua's men questions if they'll really be able to get through, since their equipment is terrible. Then, another member of the Iron-Blooded Defenders team laments that the poisonous mist sets are very rare, and that you can no longer buy equipment with money. Losing patience, one of the players orders everyone to stop talking and move forward, while Li Muhua thinks that Lu Chen didn't explain anything clearly. The moment the first player steps into the forest entrance, a mysterious energy emanates from the ground, making him wonder what's happening. Immediately after, the entire team, including a shocked Li Muhua, reacts in astonishment, exclaiming that what they are seeing is just too over the top. A player points to the path ahead, announcing in shock that he cleared all the monsters by himself. At this, Li Muhua exclaims that he wiped out the entire pack alone and that his strength is unbelievable. Lu Chen then moves forward with his captured creature, commenting that teaming up made the favor easier to fulfill. 20 minutes later, Li Muhua celebrates that even Evenshire has been defeated, questioning just how strong the young man really is. 2 days later, in the 100 Beasts mountain range, Lu Chen celebrates the large number of items obtained and the fact that everyone on his team has reached level 14. Next, one of his subordinates, a 3-petaled flower monster, hands him a piece of equipment he's never seen before. He then inspects the item, surprised that it's a unique piece of equipment, but laments that its drop rate is very low. Unsure of how much to sell it for, he decides to list the item in the auction house for 60 minutes, hoping to get the highest possible price. Meanwhile, Feng Lingji decides to look for new equipment and is surprised to see that Only I'm Wild has listed a new item for sale. Upon inspecting the piece, she discovers it's a unique item for female characters that doesn't take up a normal equipment slot. With that, she decides to try on the item and, enchanted by its appearance and effects, declares she must buy it no matter what. Soon, she realizes many people are competing in the auction and the fight for the item will be fierce. Elsewhere, a female player asks her father to help her buy the server's first unique item, and he assures her he'll get it for her. At the same time, another girl compliments how good the equipment looks on her and asks a young man for help, who reassures her that he's already bidding. With only 5 seconds left, Feng Lingji warns everyone that the price has hit $65,300 and that the final bid will be critical. As the countdown nears its end, Feng Lingji despairs at the number of people trying to bid at the last second. After it's over, Lu Chen celebrates as the item sold for over 80,000. Now, with his balance and the discount card, he can almost buy a 1 million yuan house. Then, back in the game, he decides not to rush things and resolves to fuse the 3-petaled flower monster's bloodline first. With the fusion, a small plant sprouts from the top of his head. Using his new 400-meter vision, he exclaims that the ability is insane, then comments that they wouldn't have noticed the hidden area without that power. He then notices the mist has a low-level enchantment effect and wonders what could be inside. As he gets closer, he finds a tombstone describing the place as Lost Eden, a dangerous location where monsters roam. At the same moment, a server-wide alert is triggered, announcing that Only I'm Wild has started a global task to resist an invasion, leaving other players shocked. The level 20 task consists of destroying 8 formation eyes in Lost Eden to stop a dangerous mist from spreading and strengthening the monsters. The players discuss the mission's difficulty and the need to quickly find the location of Lost Eden. Next, the system announces that, for the task, the servers will be temporarily merged, forcing all players to log out for 15 minutes. The news of the server merge stirs the players, who realize how big the task is and begin to gather their allies. At this, a guild leader proposes an alliance to Feng Lingji, suggesting that with her beauty and influence they might have a chance. Meanwhile, Lu Chen complains about being in the spotlight again, but notes that, with his new ability, the super-mutated wild monsters ahead are clearly visible. Before him, a group of super-mutated werewolf creatures awaits within the mist. Back in the game, Lu Chen comments that there are so many level 15 super-mutated monsters that it might be difficult to handle them all. Suddenly, he remembers that even though the enemies are super-mutated wild monsters, he is also a mutated monster. In front of him, a super-mutated elite werewolf prepares to attack. Right after, a super-mutated elite Stygian banshee also reveals its intimidating presence. With this, Lu Chen celebrates that his stats have doubled and that this is the stable benefit of being a wild monster inside the mist. 15 minutes later, Lu Chen thinks about the server merge and decides to check Feng Lingji's livestream to see what's happening. The scene then shifts to the grand level 10 main city, Stormwind. After the merge, a crowd of players floods the streets. Someone comments that the main city is now even more packed than the old newbie village. Among the players, Feng Lingji notes that newbie protection is gone and everyone is now looking for the lost Garden of Eden. Back in the game, Lu Chen orders his subordinates to move out and defeat the monsters. Relieved to be a wild monster and not a player in that crowd, he decides to use this opportunity to kill more creatures. With that, he and his allies start taking down the super mutant elite wolves, gaining evolution points with each victory. Soon, he excitedly realizes the drop rate for elite monsters is tripled, and they're dropping 4-star materials directly. Upon finding a mini-boss, he wonders what good loot the creature will drop when he defeats it. After defeating the Moonwolf King, the system announces the new items he's obtained, including a claw and a ring. He then inspects the gear and celebrates that they're powerful weapons that also boost his critical hit chance. As soon as he equips the new claw, he celebrates the huge damage bonus and is glad he can finally sell his old stone club. Noticing that all equipment prices have gone up, he figures it's because of the quest, and that now is the perfect time to make a huge profit. With that, he celebrates making 15,000 in 5 minutes and orders his brothers to keep killing so he can level up and make more money. Meanwhile, on 100 Beasts Mountain, a player tells his group that only I'm Wild just sold some silver wolf gear, so the entrance must be nearby. A player leads his group, telling everyone to keep a sharp lookout. Soon, another player points to a fog forming in the distance, wondering if that could be the entrance. Suddenly, a system announcement states that the fog has thickened because Only I'm Wild has entered the area. This makes the players believe he can't possibly beat the challenge alone. With that, the group leader orders everyone to advance toward the fog, confident that the lost Garden of Eden is there. Inside the fog, Lu Chen approaches a stone pillar and wonders if it's the eye of the formation and if he should just destroy it directly. He then orders one of his subordinates, whom he calls Big Head, to attack the pillar to see what happens. As soon as she attacks, an energy barrier violently repels her. Immediately, the remnant soul of a level 20 evil wolf emerges from the pillar to confront them. The monster strikes Lu Chen's subordinate with a powerful blow, making him exclaim that a single wave of attacks took out half her health. Seeing how strong the enemy is, he orders his other subordinates to fall back while he takes the lead. Even with his high attack power, Lu Chen barely scratches the monster's defense. He realizes it has 100,000 health, but his mana attacks can drain its energy. With a new strategy, he decides to gear up his allies and then wear the enemy down to death, ordering everyone to attack at once. One of his arachnid attacks hits the monster and traps it. He then orders his injured subordinate to heal, while the other two prepare to take over the fight. With the team rotating, they continue to attack the pillar's guardian with a series of coordinated strikes. An hour later, with the Guardian's health almost depleted, Lu Chen orders everyone to hold their positions and not make any mistakes. Meanwhile, Li Manhwa orders her team to focus on the entrance, but her men complain that the Silver Wolves are too strong and their own attacks are weakened. At the same time, Feng Lingji's team is also fighting the mutated wolves. She comments that the poisonous fog is terrifying, as it strengthens the monsters and weakens the players. One of the players worries that the fog might spread to the main city, but his leader scolds him, telling him not to overthink it and to focus on finding the entrance. Suddenly, a global announcement declares that Only I'm Wild has successfully destroyed the southeast eye of the formation, leaving all the advancing players completely shocked. With the pillar finally destroyed, Lu Chen and his team appear, exhausted. He exclaims that he finally did it as the system begins to calculate his reward. Right after, he smiles confidently, thinking that after so much effort, the reward had better be good. The system congratulates the brave warrior and instructs him to choose a reward from the available options. The first option is an essence fragment that allows him to summon a powerful ghost of Hadi to fight by his side. The second option is a Hadi pup. Although weak and prone to attracting attacks, it will bring a great surprise when it grows up. With this, Lu Chen reflects that since he already has a territory, it's better to get a pup to raise instead of a temporary summon. He immediately chooses the second option, and the system confirms that he has obtained a pup of the evil wolf Hati. The little wolf then appears, crying and spitting out its pacifier. With a gentle gesture, Lu Chen picks up the pup and decides to check its stats. Seeing the pup has very low stats, he comments that it will need a lot of mana to grow and that he'll take it slow. Holding the pup, he orders his subordinates to kill monsters and earn money as they head to the next formation eye. Meanwhile, other players struggle to advance, with one of their leaders ordering Team 7 to provide support, while Team 3 falls back to resupply. In another group, a rune master is instructed to apply buffs to the party, while another player celebrates that the lunar silver wolves are almost all dead. Suddenly, a new system announcement informs them that the fog has accelerated because Only I'm Wild has entered the area of the southern formation eye, leaving the players frustrated. Half an hour later, a wave of energy forms, indicating a new change in the map. With that, the advancing players lament being teleported, but one of them sees it as a chance to spread out, even though regrouping will be a problem. Elsewhere, the Crown Prince of the Dynasty Guild asks about the status of his men and is informed that 70% of them have arrived. The young Master of Dynasty informs the Crown Prince that the guild coalition has about 70 people ahead, but he orders them not to worry and to go straight for the Formation Eye. Before they could advance, a system announcement informs them that only I'm Wild has already destroyed the Southern Formation Eye, leaving the Crown Prince furious. With that, he yells for his guild to hurry, as there are now only 6 Formation Eyes left. Meanwhile, Lu Chen chooses the second reward again and obtains another divine beast, the eagle Vidofnir, deciding to continue the battle for the next Formation Eye. He then laments that although he has collected a lot of equipment, he doesn't have enough healing potions, and there's nowhere to buy them. Suddenly, he wonders why there are werewolves there and realizes someone is approaching. A group of players advances cautiously, with one of them commenting that the visibility is very low and that they need to hold their formation. Soon, they spot a dark creature and are startled by the super-mutated boss's extremely long name. Hiding in the shadows, Lu Chen realizes the players are the potion delivery he needed and orders his creatures to attack. Immediately, his subordinates charge forward and ambush the group of players. One of the players shouts, questioning the damage he took and how his health dropped so fast. Desperate, one of the leaders orders his group to follow him and kill it, realizing they are about to be wiped out. With a single blow, the group's leader is killed in seconds, to the shock of his companions. Seeing how horrifying the boss from Lost Eden is, the remaining players are completely defeated and eliminated from the game. 5 minutes later, Lu Chen observes the gear left behind and concludes that as a wild monster, it's better to kill players than other creatures. Under the moonlight, Lu Chen orders his subordinates to pick up the gear left by the defeated players. Looking at the horizon, he comments that the players are also fast and decides he will start with the Southwestern Formation Eye. Arriving at the location, he sees that a large group of players is already in an intense battle against the guardian of the Southwestern Formation Eye, a giant scorpion. He then estimates there are about 300 well-trained people fighting and decides to wait for them to wear themselves out before acting. While he waits, Lu Chen decides to watch the official broadcast to better understand the situation in Lost Eden. On the broadcast, Feng Lingji reports that she is at the Western Formation Eye, and that, based on the current progress, the battle will be long, suggesting a look at the other spots. The broadcast then shows that the health of the Southwestern Formation Eye's boss is dropping faster, and that it should be the next to be defeated. Next, the camera quickly shows the bosses of the Northwestern and Western Formation Eyes, giving a general overview of the situation. Seeing the official summary, Lu Chen smiles and decides he will follow that order to steal the kills one after another. Half an hour later, with his team recovered, he asks if they've rested enough and summons them to battle, shouting that it's time to steal some heads. At the right moment, he leaps into battle and uses his skill, shouting, "Spider silk wrap!" With that, the players fighting the boss are suddenly trapped in silk webs. One of the players turns in shock, questioning the appearance of other wild beasts, startled by the creature's long name. Immediately, the group of players is defeated. They lament the arrival of another boss, and one player says he didn't expect to be able to summon other beasts. 8 minutes later, with the players out of the way, Lu Chen moves forward to face the pillar's guardian alone. 5 minutes later, a system announcement informs that only I'm Wild has destroyed the Southwest Formation's Eye. Lu Chen celebrates killing the players, taking their potions, and stealing the boss all at once. Next, at the West Formation's Eye, a group of players fights a hellhound, with their leader shouting for them to watch out for its mana-draining abilities. Watching from afar, Lu Chen notes that this boss can absorb mana and convert it into health, making it even more terrifying than the previous ones. An hour later, a lion with a bored expression is shown, indicating that more time has passed in the battle. Meanwhile, as Lu Chen collects his new cubs, an announcement reports that the player Imperial Prince has destroyed the East Formation's Eye. With the collection complete, the system congratulates him for gathering the cubs of the 4 ancient fierce beasts and activating the secret quest, Supreme Fierce Beast. The quest is described as a unique, limited-time event, offering a chance to obtain one of the 4 Supreme Fierce Beasts, Fenrir, Nidhogg, Jormungandr, or Hraesvelgr. Excited by the existence of even stronger creatures, Lu Chen makes his choice and selects Nidhogg, the Black Dragon of Despair. After his choice, the system instructs him to place the cubs on the corresponding stone pillars to begin the ritual. Lu Chen and his subordinates then position themselves in the center of the arena, surrounded by the 4 pillars, as an intense energy begins to build. Lu Chen expresses his concern, fearing that the cubs he places on the pillars won't be returned, just like in the Secret Realm's prayer. Immediately, one of the cubs begins to howl, starting the ritual. With that, gigantic, ghostly versions of the 4 beasts emerge, leaving Lu Chen completely shocked by their appearance. Then, he realizes with horror that he might have to kill all 4 beasts at the same time to complete the quest. Suddenly, a dark and imposing creature emerges from the flames. Lu Chen despairs, wondering how he could possibly defeat something of that size. However, the 4 beasts turn to help him. He begins to form a strategy, realizing that with each of their abilities there might be a chance. With renewed confidence, he prepares for the battle ahead. Without hesitation, he orders the attack, and the 4 beasts charge the enemy in a coordinated assault. The creature, an immense dragon, descends from the sky and lands with a fiery impact on the battlefield. Immediately, the dragon unleashes a blast of fire that hits Lu Chen's subordinates, dealing 20,000 damage in a single blow. Shocked by the devastating magic attack, Lu Chen realizes that if it weren't for the 4 beasts, his minions would have been killed instantly. With that, he orders everyone to retreat to a safe area while he and the 4 beasts face the boss. Next, he uses his spider silk ability on the boss, and is surprised to see it work, considering it a divine skill. Immediately, he orders the Hellhound to drain the dragon's mana, while the Chimera quickly stuns it. With the boss stunned, Lu Chen charges forward and attacks with his poisoned strikes, managing to deal direct damage. Lu Chen analyzes the situation, commenting that with 500,000 health, the creature will take a long time to defeat. An hour later, at the Northeast Formation's Eye, several players are fighting that area's boss, the giant eagle. A member of the War Gods Blood Dance Guild expresses concern, noticing that the Imperial Dynasty's people seem to be intentionally separating from them. With that, the guild leader warns everyone to stay close to the pillars, as the Imperial Dynasty's people might try to play dirty. At the same time, the Dynasty's prince orders his men to get in the way of the War God idiots, ensuring the weakened beast will belong to their guild. Thus, the player Imperial Prince destroys the East Formation's Eye, and smiling chooses the second reward. The War God Guild reacts with fury, shouting that they're in this together and need to get their pet back, ordering an all-out attack. Suddenly, all players are teleported out of the event area. Outside, the players celebrate the end of the quest, but lament not getting a single divine beast, while praising only I'm Wild for getting 5 all by himself. The War God Guild continues to chase the dynasty, demanding their pet back and accusing them of stealing the reward they had agreed to share. The Imperial Prince worries that he can't log out with a PK status, and wonders who is taking so long to loot the hidden dungeon. Back in the arena, Lu Chen's small cub celebrates finally managing to kill the Chimera beast by itself. Meanwhile, the intense battle between Lu Chen and his beasts against the dragon Nidhogg rages on, with his subordinates attacking relentlessly. Outside the entrance to the Lost Eden, a chaotic battle among players is already underway. One of the players asks about the chaos, and another explains that the Dynasty Guild stole the War God's divine beast. Then, another group starts fighting over the divine beast from the black-robed Immortal Gate, with one player yelling for everyone to join the fight. Hearing this, a player encourages everyone, saying the system keeps announcing who they should rob, and that the drop rate must be high. Soon, a guild leader shouts for his brothers to charge forward, as they need to push through for the sake of the guild's divine beast. While the battles rage on, Lu Chen celebrates getting another cub. The system informs him that he has completed the quest and unlocked the secret mission, Divine Blood Demonic Seed. The new mission requires him to collect the 4 supreme beasts and the 4 supreme evil beasts, as well as clear 3 hidden dungeons. Faced with the list of requirements and the difficulty of the new mission, Lu Chen shouts in frustration, exclaiming that this is just too insane. Then, a system announcement informs him that the Lost Eden mission is over, and he will be teleported to the entrance. As soon as he appears outside, he's met by a chaotic battle between hundreds of players. Surprised, he wonders what 1,000 people are doing fighting each other like that. Suddenly, the players spot him in panic, questioning how a boss appeared and wondering if something escaped from the Lost Eden. A shadowy figure then quickly hides among the forest trees. Seeing so many people being defeated, Lu Chen decides it's best to retreat, since the area isn't far from his territory. Once safe in the forest, he summons all his subordinates, announcing that they've finally made it home. Watching from a distance, he hears the players' shouts and wonders why they followed him all the way here. The chase continues, with players from the War God Guild charging at the Prince of the Dynasty. Seeing the fight happening in his territory, Lu Chen decides he can't let it slide. He feels he'd be wrong not to deal with them. In the middle of the forest, the players continue to trade accusations, with the Prince of the Dynasty being called a despicable villain and a liar. At that moment, Lu Chen's subordinates emerge and ambush the players, breaking up the fight. Defeated, the Prince of the Dynasty clutches the item he managed to get, a small fairy inside a sphere of energy. Lu Chen then collects the players' rewards and realizes the system announced who destroyed the eyes to encourage theft, since the drop rate was 100%. With the items in hand, he calls his partners to try and get the last remaining one. He then advances with his team, celebrating the fact that the last eye of the formation hasn't been taken by anyone yet. Meanwhile, a team of players is fighting a low-health boss, and a female player shouts not to let it escape. Suddenly, Lu Chen appears and attacks the players. They lament the arrival of the strongest boss and wonder what this place is. With all the items collected, Lu Chen celebrates having activated the secret mission, Supreme Evil Beast. The new mission instructs him to choose one of the 4 evil beast hearts and enter the ghost beast's lair for the final confrontation. Based on his experience from last time, he believes it will be much easier now. 2 hours later, exhausted and surrounded by his cubs, Lu Chen declares he's tired and will put all the equipment up for sale before logging off to sleep. Sitting in his wheelchair, Lu Chen sighs in relief. He calculates that after selling the batch of equipment, his savings will reach 1 million, enough to surprise Lu Yi with a house. Right after, he picks up his phone and worries when he sees 16 missed calls, fearing something has happened to Lu Yi. When he calls back, he asks what's wrong. Lu Yi explains that her guild is being constantly bullied by the Dynasty Guild. Half an hour later, she thanks him for the talk and laments that he doesn't play the game. He comforts her, telling her to get some rest because better days will come. However, he reflects that his situation is too special to be revealed, but he swears he will make the Dynasty Guild pay for messing with his sister. The next day, Lu Chen celebrates that his right leg is almost fully recovered, and he'll finally be back to normal. With the helmet in hand, he figures that at his current pace, he'll need to level up 3 more times to fully recover. He then wonders what kind of magical game this is, since it's unlike any other ordinary game. Back in the game, he instructs his minions to take care of the hatchlings and level up while he goes for a walk. Seeing how vast the wilderness is, he decides it'll be hard to find the dynasty's people on his own, and that maybe he should ask for help. With that, he contacts the Ironblood guards and asks for help locating the Dynasty Guild members, who agree to let him know as soon as they see them. 5 minutes later, he attacks a group of players who are startled by the sudden appearance of such a powerful boss. After defeating the group, he drinks a potion and reflects that to help Lu Yi, he needs to become a powerful protector and have a human identity. He then remembers that the reputation exchange can get him a human skin if he kills enough monsters of the same type. Upon confirming it's true, he celebrates excitedly, shouting that he can now help his sister with a clear conscience. Immediately, he goes back to attacking and defeating several groups of players to farm what he needs. 10 hours later, surrounded by players' bodies, he complains that the skin is too hard to get and decides to check on his sister. When he calls, Lu Yi tells him her day wasn't good and that the Dynasty players have been harassing them again. With a confident smile, he tells her not to get upset and to give him her game ID, saying he knows a master who can help her. Suspicious, she asks how he knows a master if he doesn't play, but he convinces her to trust him, and she finally gives him the info. Looking at his phone, he smiles and tells his sister to sleep well, because he will take care of all her problems. The next day, in the game, he decides to add Lu Yi anonymously, since revealing his identity would be too much. Soon he starts the conversation, introducing himself as her brother's friend, and she explains that the Dynasty Guild is stopping her team from doing a quest. Hearing the details, he reflects that the neutral zone is crowded and that his appearance there would definitely cause a commotion. He then reassures her, saying he has a quest to complete but that he'll be there soon, and asks for the location of Dynasty's main force. With the information that they are at the 100 Beasts Mountain, he smiles, as he was worried about finding his next victims, and now they will come to him. Meanwhile, a group of Dynasty players is fighting a boss, and their leader orders teams 2 and 3 to kill anyone who gets close. Suddenly, Lu Chen appears in the middle of the battle, causing the players to recognize him as the boss from Lost Eden. Not understanding why the boss seems to have a grudge against them, the players are quickly defeated by his attacks. Fallen on the ground, one of the Dynasty leaders wonders why that poisonous boss keeps chasing him. After the battle, Lu Chen complains that the player only dropped potions and no equipment. Then, a notification informs him that he has received a new video mail. Upon opening it, he realizes it's a video from Lu Yi and becomes curious to see what she looks like in the game. In the video, she thanks the anonymous brother, saying that the enemies seem to be gone and that they won't need his help anymore. However, as soon as she approaches the quest NPC, she realizes she's walked into a trap. A woman from the Dynasty Guild approaches Lu Yi and with a whip in her hand, says she'll consider letting her do the quest if she kneels and calls her grandma. Then she mocks Lu Yi's name and attacks her with the whip, yelling that she's going to kill her. Back in the forest, engulfed in flames, Lu Chen declares he will exchange for the human skin, vowing that little dancer must wait for him. The game system then announces that a new human skin has been generated. Lu Chen then appears, remarking that he looks much more handsome now. He then celebrates, glad to finally have a normal human body again. Lu Chen then decides that if he hides his name, he can act like a true wolf in sheep's clothing. Just then, he gets a message from his sister, Lu Yi. She says she's in a bad mood and is logging off first. Back in the real world, Lu Yi rips off her gaming helmet and screams in frustration. A friend comes over and comforts her, saying not to worry because their leader and the others will help her get revenge. Worried, Lu Yi asks if that will cause problems for them, but her friend reassures her that the Imperial Guild wouldn't be so shameless. Still, her friend ends the conversation by saying she really hopes not. Back in the game, Lu Chen finds a level 11 creature identified as Ghostly Beauty. Nearby, he spots a group of 3 and notes that the monster is a unique spawn. He plans to take it down in a single blow. At that same moment, the pink-haired girl in the group turns around and offers help, asking if he's alone. Lu Chen then recognizes her as the streamer Hualuo Jixiang, the same person who helped him before. Meanwhile, one of the women asks their leader, Leng Nuo, if she got the shoulder guard so they can split the money later. Shortly after, the same woman approaches and asks Lu Chen why he's wandering alone, and he replies that he's a lone wolf without a guild. Lu Chen teases another player, saying that while some kill with every step, he just kneels, asking if he isn't being too hard on himself. The woman in blue explains that he tried to make others kneel, but it backfired completely. Embarrassed, he asks them to drop it. As they walk, the player in red asks which guild Lu Chen is from. The woman replies that they don't have one, and paid to cross the forest, to which he confirms he did the same. 10 minutes later, upon arriving at the main city, Lu Chen is amazed by the number of people, but the pink-haired player comments that this is nothing compared to how it used to be. The group looks on at the bustling city entrance. Lu Chen then spots a large board. The player in red explains that it's the ranking for the Twin Tower. It hasn't changed in a long time, and shows the strongest players in the city. The board reads, Stormwind City Twin Tower Rankings, Server 122. The pink-haired player notes that the top-ranked player is a pro gamer. Lu Chen adds that since levels and gear are so important, the rankings are bound to change soon. Lu Chen thinks to himself that the competition for the top spots must be fierce, but at least now he can also access the main city. The other player advises him not to even think about the rankings. He says it's unreachable unless you're a certain someone, which piques Lu Chen's curiosity. The player reveals he's talking about the famous I'm Wild. Lu Chen retorts that since he's not that person, he'll just have to be content with looking. Suspicious, the pink-haired girl asks if he's the famous player, since he hid his name, but she quickly dismisses the thought when she sees his gear. Leng Nuo cuts the conversation short, telling the group they need to go buy some potions. As they walk, the guy suggests they form a guild. The other girl asks if Leng Nuo is getting addicted to the game, but she just says she doesn't like the big shots from her old server. Lu Chen is surprised to find out Leng Nuo is an actress, which explains why she's so beautiful. The group makes their way through the main city's bustling marketplace. Spotting a massive structure, Lu Chen asks if that's the Twin Tower. He then decides that since he doesn't have a guild, he'll try the Immortal Tower's solo challenge first. Suddenly, a player shoves him aside, yelling at him to get out of the way for boss Qingyi, the king of Stormwind City. The lackey warns him to memorize their faces and stay clear whenever he sees them around the city. Watching the group leave, other players comment that the 3 masters who dominate the rankings are heading to challenge the Immortal Tower again. With Lu Yi offline, he decides to take this chance to play and see just how far he can get. As he gets closer, 2 players wonder why a noob in such crappy gear would dare challenge the tower alongside the top players. Another group of players mocks him, betting he won't even last 20 seconds. They figure he hid his name because he was afraid of being made fun of. Ignoring them all, Lu Chen requests to enter the Immortal Tower challenge, and the receptionist grants his request. In the crowd, a player yells for everyone to stop paying attention to that fool and focus on the 3 powerhouses. Another player comments on the newbie's guts. Surprised, Leng Nuo's companion asks if the anonymous player really went in, and she confirms he did. He then assumes the newbie doesn't know anything and will be ridiculed for having his stats displayed, but Leng Nuo cuts him off, warning that the challenge has already begun. Soon the screen displays the top 3 players, Qingyi Taoge, Master of Yuming Valley, and Longteng Zhantian, as they begin the challenge. The pink-haired girl notices that only the anonymous player hasn't shared his screen. Leng Nuo tells them to focus on learning from the master's videos. Inside the tower, Qingyi Taoge charges at a creature and declares that this time, he'll break his previous record. The challenger faces his opponent with full determination. Outside, the group is surprised to see that the anonymous bro lasted 15 seconds. They consider inviting him to their team for his skill. 2 minutes later, other spectators are shocked that the newbie is still in the tower. They speculate he must have found some kind of system bug. Seeing that 3 minutes have passed, Manhwa wonders why the anonymous player's time is still climbing, since the first floor should be over by now. Then, the panel updates, showing the anonymous player has hit the 3-minute and 11-second mark. Meanwhile, Qingye Taoge gets annoyed and asks the system why he can't enter the next floor even after making his choice. In another part of the tower, Lu Chen defeats several silver wolves, and the system announces he's earned 100 copper coins for each one. With a smile, he thinks that since he's broke, this is a great opportunity to make some money. However, the system notifies him that because he spent more than 5 minutes on the first floor, he is forbidden from advancing to the next. On the second floor, Lu Chen faces a level 11 Shadow Cat and grumbles that the game is a money grab and you can't play like this. Still, he attacks the creature, earns 200 copper coins for the victory, and gets excited to continue. 4 minutes later, the system notifies him once again that because he stayed too long on the second floor, he is forbidden from advancing. Ignoring the warning and already on the third floor, he celebrates having accumulated almost 40 silver coins, calling the place a paradise for making money. Outside, the spectators react with disbelief, shouting that it's impossible for a newbie to have gotten this far and that it must be a bug. Lengnuo's group is also astonished by his strength, and she wonders, incredulously, how long he can last in the challenge. At 2 minutes and 38 seconds into the trial, the player Longteng Juntian is struck in his battle. At the same moment, the master of Yuming Valley also seems to be defeated by his opponent. Meanwhile, Qingyi Taoge complains that the system is acting strange, but concludes it's a good chance to rest so he can reach the 4th floor. Soon after, he too is informed by the system that he is forbidden from advancing to the next floor for exceeding the time limit. Now on the 4th floor, 38 seconds into the trial, Taoge admits he won't last much longer, but that this is already his best result. As he leaves the tower, he comments on the difficulty of the last floor, and the crowd hails him as the #1 player. One of his followers congratulates him for being the first to reach the 4th floor, but Taoge finds the silence of the other 2 competitors strange. Suddenly, he notices the crowd is staring intently in another direction and wonders what's happening. The spectators continue to shout, impressed, as they see the other player's time is still increasing. Qingyi Taoge finally looks at the panel and is shocked to see the anonymous player is still inside on the 4th floor at 58 seconds. The panel then updates, showing the anonymous challenger has clocked in at 1 minute and 2 seconds on the 4th floor. Inside the tower, Lu Chen excitedly celebrates earning more silver coins, bringing his total to 150. With a smile, he announces he's heading to the next floor. Outside, Lengnuo's group is shocked by the player's strength, wondering how the people at the city gate must be reacting. Soon, the crowd erupts when they see he's the first player on the entire server to reach the 5th floor. While some doubt he's a famous person, others speculate he could be the mysterious Only I'm Wild. In a live stream, the streamer Feng Lingji welcomes the real Only I'm Wild, who has just entered the room. In the stream's chat, the player announces that since someone reached the 5th floor, he'll go check it out. Lu Chen then reflects that this way, no one will think he's the famous player, as revealing his identity would be inconvenient. He decides he can't clear too many floors so as not to overdo it, and that 5 is enough. After 2 minutes and 19 seconds, Lu Chen declares he's earned 200 silver coins and that it's time to go. As soon as he exits the tower, he's surprised by what he sees outside. He is then stunned by the huge crowd surrounding him. Lengnuo's colleague approaches and congratulates him, in disbelief that he actually reached the 5th floor. The player begs him to teach him his secret, but Lu Chen just tells him to keep running without stopping. Qingyi Taoge approaches furiously, demanding to know how he pulled it off with such bad gear. He yells that it's impossible to pass floors with just movement skills. While his followers accuse him of cheating, Taoge orders him to talk, because this is his territory. Lu Chen replies that he has no obligation to answer, but that he can tell him one thing. He then warns him not to shout, because from now on, this place is no longer his territory. After the confrontation, Lu Chen turns his back and walks away, leaving Taoge's group behind. One of Qingyi's men reflects that, since he's the only player to reach the 5th floor, his identity is surely not simple. The spectators celebrate, surprised by the newbie's audacity, and one of them decides to check the forums for news. Arriving at a counter, the receptionist asks him to register his guild, But he thinks his real goal is the mana fragment reward. He considers creating his own guild, but remembers that he would need at least 4 people. He then turns and recalls that Lengnuo's group had mentioned on the way that they intended to create a guild. With that, Lu Chen approaches and asks for help creating a guild, explaining it's for a reward and they can leave whenever they want. The pink-haired girl says they can't help him in the challenge, but he clarifies that he'll go alone and will even help them get gear. Lengnuo then agrees to help without wanting any rewards, and Lu Chen guides them to the registration office. There, the clerk informs them that the guild registration costs 50 silver coins. The pink-haired girl is shocked by the price, but Lu Chen assures her he has the money and asks her to just sign the document. In front of the tower, he thanks the group and announces that the Raging Wave Guild is officially established. Now he can challenge the Demon Ceiling Tower. Lengnuo offers to accompany him, suggesting they can help split the damage, but he kindly refuses the offer. Then, Lu Chen turns to the crowd and asks why they're all standing around like spectators instead of leveling up. The people react in shock, shouting that he's a madman for entering the Demon Tower alone, a challenge meant for guilds. Soon, the panel displays the score for the Furious Wave Guild, clocking in at 11 seconds on the first floor. Lengnuo's group watches anxiously, but the pink-haired girl says she has complete faith in the anonymous brother's victory. 4 minutes later, the spectators are in an uproar when they see that he, all by himself, has reached the second floor. Elsewhere, a woman pours herself some water and comments in surprise that someone has broken Qingyi Taoge's record in the Immortal Tower. Lu Yi's colleague asks if it was the famous Only I'm Wild who surpassed him, but she clarifies it was an anonymous player. Her friend then deduces that the anonymous player is probably Only I'm Wild himself, but Lu Yi denies it, as he appeared on Feng Ling's livestream at the same time. While Lu Yi is lost in thought, Mr. Huang appears and tells her to log on so the group can help, stating that Xiaowu is bullying her too much. With that, Mr. Huang's men declare they will get revenge for her and show everyone the support that little Yi has. The purple-haired colleague then approaches and thanks everyone on Lu Yi's behalf. Back at the tower, an intense blue energy fills the battle scene. Lu Chen dodges multiple projectiles as he advances through the floor. He then prepares for the third floor challenge, thinking everything will be fine as long as he gets the reward. Lengnuo's companion shouts that the anonymous brother has single-handedly surpassed all other guilds, and she confirms that, theoretically, this makes Furious Wave the strongest. As soon as he exits the tower, the crowd cheers for him, shouting the guild's name and praising his incredible performance. Lengnuo invites him to visit the guild headquarters, but he refuses, explaining he doesn't have the energy to manage one. The pink-haired girl then asks if he'll meet them in the future to level up together, and he says goodbye, stating he will if fate allows it. In the crowd, players comment that the rise of Furious Wave is changing the scene, and that they will surely become the #1 guild. Excited, the player in red celebrates now being an elder of the strongest guild on the server. He remarks that it seems surreal for the strongest guild to have only 4 members, but the pink-haired girl tells Lengnuo that this is an opportunity. The girl explains that since the leader doesn't care, they can manage and expand the guild, taking advantage of its prominent name at the city gate. Despite Lengnuo's hesitation, her friend insists there's nothing inappropriate about it, as anyone who wants to can join, and they can do quests together. With that, Lengnuo asks Shibu to go and ask the anonymous brother if he agrees with the idea. As he walks away, Lu Chen realizes he's in his real appearance, and needs a mask so his sister won't recognize him. Soon, Shibu catches up to him and asks for permission to manage the guild themselves, and Lu Chen agrees, saying he has no objections. Shibu celebrates excitedly at the positive response. With the mask now in hand, Lu Chen wonders how his sister, Lu Yi, is doing. Elsewhere, Lu Yi and her group, led by Mr. Huang, face a woman with a whip and her allies. Mr. Huang tries to resolve the dispute by asking them to step aside, as they don't want to cause any trouble. The purple-haired woman confronts him, asking who he thinks he is to say he doesn't want trouble. Annoyed, Mr. Huang retorts that her people started the trouble for no reason and shouldn't be so arrogant. With a smirk, she reveals she decided to attack the other girl simply because she didn't like her name and appearance, daring him to do something. Furious with her response, Mr. Huang orders all his men to charge. In that same instant, the woman turns and cries for help, telling the crown prince that someone is trying to bully her. In response, a blonde man appears with his own group and asks who is bold enough to bully his woman. Upon seeing the crown prince's arrival, Lu Yi despairs, but Mr. Huang calms her down and tells her not to panic, as he will handle the situation. With that, Mr. Huang introduces himself as Liang Zhantian, and tries to de-escalate the conflict, but the Crown Prince questions him, asking why he should back down just because he said so. The Crown Prince then taunts him, asking if he thinks mentioning the Jantian Guild scares him, and declares that the guild is nothing but trash. Outraged, Mr. Huang yells that he's crossing the line, but the Crown Prince warns that with him there, they won't be able to clear the mission. The Crown Prince then turns to Wu and asks what she wants to do, and she demands that they all kneel and beg for forgiveness so she'll spare them. Faced with the demand, Mr. Huang and Lu Yi shout together that it's impossible. With a huff, the Crown Prince says they've underestimated him and that now he'll show them what he's capable of. In an instant, he dashes forward at high speed and attacks Mr. Huang, leaving Lu Yi stunned by his swiftness. The confrontation between the two groups then begins. Lu Yi watches the fight and remarks that the man is so strong he can take on the entire team by himself. Seeing their disadvantage, she yells for the manager to run, but he refuses, stating that they are a team and will fight together. Quickly, the Crown Prince's allies overwhelm and defeat Mr. Huang's companions. With a contemptuous smirk, the Crown Prince comments that their unity is touching, but they're still just a bunch of trash. He then turns to Lu Yi and says her friends' deaths are her fault, offering her a chance to kneel and beg for mercy. Lu Yi, however, raises her sword and defiantly replies that he can dream on. The Crown Prince charges forward to attack and yells that he'll be waiting right there for her. Soon after, Lu Yi and her companions reappear at the resurrection point. As soon as she finds her colleague, Lu Yi asks about the manager, and she replies that he went to find the guild leader to try and intervene. With that, Lu Yi mentions that someone is looking for her and that she'll respond first. In a message exchange, Lu Yi warns her anonymous brother not to go, but he assures her there won't be a problem, which leaves her confused. She insists that going there is suicide, but he replies that it's not yet known who will die, so she tells him the manager is trying to contact the guild leader. Returning, the manager apologizes and informs Lu Yi that the guild leader doesn't dare to offend the dynasty. Even so, Lu Yi tells them not to worry and that they should put the mission aside for now to focus on leveling up. She then comments that she doesn't believe they'll guard the NPC forever and receives a message from her brother saying he's arrived. She then bids farewell to her companions, telling them not to worry about her and that she'll go on ahead. Her companions watch from a distance, lamenting that they can't defeat the hateful Crown Prince and his partner Xiaowu. Soon, a masked figure emerges, walking through the mist. The Crown Prince calls him trash and tells him to get lost, but the newcomer asks if they are the ones bullying Love Brother the most. The prince then mocks him, asking if he wants to avenge the little girl and if he is her beloved brother. The masked man confirms that he is, and warns that it's not too late for them to apologize. With disdain, the Crown Prince calls him crazy for asking for an apology and scoffs at his gear, finding the whole situation ridiculous. Worried, Lu Yi runs toward him, begging him not to mind her and to run away quickly. He, however, reassures her, telling her not to worry, as he will take care of these few pieces of trash. The Crown Prince questions him for daring to oppose the imperial dynasty, while his partner scoffs at his arrogance. One of the henchmen offers to finish him with a single blow, but the prince orders them not to let him die so easily. Lu Yi tries to convince him to run, but he insists it's fine, as he always finishes what he starts. With a contemptuous shout, the henchman charges forward to attack. In that same instant, Lu Chen lands a direct hit with his weapon, sending him flying. The man falls to the ground, defeated, leaving everyone in silence. The scene shocks everyone. They watch the situation unfold with expressions of total disbelief. Not understanding what happened, the purple-haired woman questions the situation, and the prince speculates it must be a system bug. Lu Chen then takes a stance and gives them one last chance, telling them to apologize or they'll all end up on the ground. Furious, the Crown Prince yells at him to stop pretending and orders his men to advance, claiming they aren't afraid. With that, all the prince's followers rush to attack at once. With a single move, Lu Chen defeats multiple enemies simultaneously. In an instant, almost all his opponents are down and defeated. Terrified by the opponent's damage output, one of the men asks the prince what to do. He screams for everyone to run. Then, Lu Chen leaps towards him, warning that it's too late to run, as the Crown Prince screams for him to wait. With a single, powerful blow, Lu Chen takes down the last henchman trying to attack. From a distance, some onlookers recognize the nameless brother and are shocked to see someone daring to provoke the player who took first place in both towers. Lu Chen then approaches the fallen Crown Prince and warns that now it's his turn, making him beg for his life and admit his mistake. Even with the apology, he strikes him one last time. Next, the player turns to the purple-haired woman and demands an apology, threatening that her guild will never know peace otherwise. Terrified, she kneels on the ground and begs for forgiveness, and Lu Chen begins to give his answer. He then states that a simple apology won't end the matter and that she still needs to take a beating. As proof of her sincerity, the woman offers a golden hammer to Lu Yi. The crowd recognizes the item as the Suishi, a priceless weapon, and reacts with shock and envy. Lu Yi's colleague approaches, impressed that she knows someone powerful enough to defeat an entire guild alone, and asks for an introduction. With that, Lu Yi thanks her nameless brother, and out of curiosity, asks who he really is. The masked player introduces himself as Nameless, a friend of her brother, while she refuses the gift, saying it's too valuable. She stands there holding the weapon, watching him in silence. He then insists she keep the weapon, saying it would be a waste to throw it away since he doesn't need it. He then declares that her problems are now his problems too, and that she can call him whenever someone bullies her. As he walks away, her colleague comes closer and tells little Yi that she doesn't have to worry anymore. Now in the territory of Renai Peak, Lu Chen interacts with a small creature while being watched by guards. Lu Chen then reflects that the most important thing right now is to level up and get new equipment. Next, he gets ready with his 7 minions and 3 fools, summoning them to level up together. After hitting level 15 and getting a new combo talent, he decides to look for new dungeons to explore. Looking at the panel, he discovers that the Korean guild 3 Saints is trying to be the first to clear the Tiger King's cave. Soon, a system announcement informs that the 3 Saints Guild has challenged all of China, vowing to be the first to clear the dungeon. With a smile, he comments on the rival guild's arrogance and invites everyone to check out the Tiger King's cave. Elsewhere, a player warns Lingzi that the Koreans have started a live stream from the dungeon to intimidate them. As they watch, they notice the rival guild has a higher level and good coordination, admitting they have some skill. Worried, the player wonders if their server will be defeated, but Lingzi replies that it all depends on whether Only I'm Wild and Nameless take action. Inside the cave, Lu Chen defeats a tiger, and the system announces he's obtained a tiger fang. After taking down another creature, he receives tiger skin boots and other items as a reward. Excited by the high experience from the dungeon, he celebrates finding a green tier piece of equipment and decides to equip it. The system then displays the new item's stats, which increase defense, strength, and movement speed. Lu Chen then attacks a giant monster, exclaiming that the new boots are amazing. He then orders all his minions to advance together against the target on the right. By defeating another enemy, he gets a green tier tiger skin hat. Suddenly, the dungeon boss appears, roaring in his direction. He charges forward and starts attacking the powerful creature with multiple strikes. Elsewhere, Lingzi asks her colleague for the hat's stats, and she reports the defense, strength, and agility values. Shocked, Lingzi shouts that it's insane, and that the 3 Saints Guild's power has increased again. Her friend then informs her that the Koreans are taunting them, and Lingzi calls out for Only I'm Wild and Nameless. In that same instant, a system announcement reports that the dungeon boss, the Tiger King, has been defeated. Back in the cave, Lu Chen admires his new weapon and comments that the critical damage is so high he can't even look at it. Lu Chen attacks the dungeon boss, and the system announces he's obtained several tiger pelt and fang items. After clearing the cave, he's disappointed he didn't get any blue items, but the system congratulates him for setting a new record. Then, a notification reveals a hidden boss, and he wonders how the Korean server is doing. Meanwhile, on the stream, the Korean dungeon boss towers over the fallen players. Lingzi tells her friend that even though the rival guild has been defeated 5 times, they seem close to winning. 3 minutes later, one of the Korean players celebrates finally defeating the first boss. With 3 new green items in hand, he declares to China and Japan that the 3 Saints Guild is the strongest. Worried, Lingzi's friend says it'll be impossible to compete now, as there's no way to form a team that strong on their server. Other players question why the server's heroes, Only I Am Wild, and the anonymous player, haven't made a move yet. Back in his dungeon, Lu Chen attacks the secret boss, a reddish creature with crystals on its back. After defeating the monster, he's surprised to get 2 blue items, a sword and a coat. Soon, the system displays the stats for the Shadow Wind Coat, a rare level 15 item. Excited about the new gear, he shouts that the item is amazing and decides to put it on immediately. Already wearing the new coat, he complains he's still in beginner shorts, and the system announces a second hidden boss. Annoyed by the wait, he grumbles about the other boss but hopes he'll finally get a pair of pants. On the Korean server, a guild leader yells at his team, now with new equipment, that they need to be careful and clear it in one go. Meanwhile, another group plots that as soon as they hit level 13 and get gear, They'll hunt down and kill the anonymous player. 12 minutes later, Lu Chen faces the second hidden boss, which launches an attack with rings of energy. Soon, the creature traps him inside an ice barrier. The monster then fires a beam of energy, which hits the ice prison where he is. The barrier shatters from the impact. He then exclaims that luckily, he has plenty of health and manages to break free from the attack. Next, Lu Chen leaps and counterattacks the boss with a powerful blow. The system announces the defeat of the ice-roaring tiger and lists the obtained talent fragments and quality points. Facing the fallen monster, he celebrates getting 2 blue items and 6th level fragments. He then reads the stats for the black ice mantle and gets annoyed when he finds out there are matching pants for the item, but he didn't get any. Lu Chen speculates that there wasn't enough time for a third boss to appear and decides to try again later, earning him the title Tiger Hunter. With that, the system informs him that his new title increases all his base stats by 10%. The system asks if he wants to display his name on the dungeon ranking, but he orders it not to be displayed. Soon after, the official Chinese server leaderboard shows that first place was taken by an anonymous player in 41 minutes. The system informs Lu Chen that he can re-enter the Tiger King's cave in 30 minutes, so he decides to go out and hunt some monsters. As soon as he steps outside, he's surprised by the huge crowd waiting for him. The players comment on his incredible blue gear, and one of them recognizes him as the anonymous bro who cleared the cave. Annoyed by the crowd, he complains about why there are always people watching and quickly leaves the area. One of the onlookers speculates that he did it because of the Korean's arrogance, but another tells them to stop guessing and look at the facts. With that, the player decides to check the leaderboard to confirm. Another player asks how long the Three Saints Guild took, and the answer is that they're still fighting the last boss. Meanwhile, on the Korean stream, the guild continues its intense battle against the dungeon boss. After finishing the challenge, one of the Korean players turns to the camera and taunts the Chinese and Japanese viewers, showing off his blue weapon. The Chinese players watch the taunt and complain about the arrogance, but admit they can't do anything about it right now. Soon, a player named Lone Wolf posts on the forum, showing the Chinese server's leaderboard with the anonymous player in first place. Shocked, Lingzi wonders if he really managed to clear the Tiger King's cave by himself. On the other side, the Korean player refuses to believe it and yells that the result must be fake, since there's no video to prove it. In response, Lone Wolf warns them to wait half an hour for the anonymous bro to come back and humiliate them. Motivated, Lingzi calls her friend Shanshan and invites her to the Tiger King's cave to start a live stream. Upon returning to the cave, Lu Chen is met by a crowd impressed with his full blue gear, and a player announces his arrival. Soon, Lingzi thanks him for helping the Chinese players vent their anger. Awkward with the attention, he just asks them to make way so he can get through the crowd. As he passes, some players try to stop him, begging the anonymous bro to stay. Confused by the commotion, he decides to ignore it and focus on his mission to get a pair of pants that match his outfit. In the crowd, the spectators get ready to record, eager to see how long it'll take him to beat the Korean guild's time. Inside the dungeon, he moves forward with his minions and shouts for them to be faster this time. Then, the group simultaneously attacks the cave monsters. With a smile, he celebrates leveling up, stating that now he'll be able to kill enemies even faster. Outside, Lingzi's friend informs her that the Three Saints Guild lent their gear to another team that is now trying to break the record. Lingzi gets anxious, as the item bonuses make the competition tougher, but she continues to root for him. In another stream, a Korean player brags about his 39-minute time and taunts his Chinese rivals. Outraged, the Chinese viewers call their rivals shameless and cry out for their heroes to team up and crush them. Inside the cave, Lu Chen confirms that there's a third hidden boss and hopes it will finally give him a pair of pants. Right after, the imposing boss, Flaming Burst Tiger, appears before him. After an intense battle, Lu Chen defeats the flaming explosive tiger. With his victory, the system announces that he's obtained the night pants item. He celebrates excitedly, shouting that he finally got a pair of pants. Looking at the reward list, he's shocked to see the boss also dropped a purple tier item. The system congratulates him for breaking the record again, and he commands the board to display the stats of his new items. Next, the screen shows the details of the night pants, a level 15 blue tier item that holds the power of blue fire. Soon after, the stats of the purple tier item, Tiger's Cry, a pair of dual swords, are revealed. He then equips the new swords and remarks, impressed, that having dual weapons with their own stats is outrageous. Outside, the crowd laments that since 40 minutes have passed, Korea must have won, but Lingzi refuses to believe it. She then decides to check the leaderboard for herself. The screen displays the anonymous player in first place, with a time of 38 minutes and 44 seconds. Lingzi freaks out with joy when she sees that anonymous bro not only won, but also single-handedly defeated Korea's top 2 guilds. As soon as he exits the cave, the crowd surrounds him, and Lingzi shouts excitedly. He tries to cover his face with his cloak and complains about the huge crowd. The crowd cheers for him, shouting that he's powerful and handsome, and they even celebrate that he finally got pants. Pressured by the curious crowd, he agrees to show his purple tier item, but asks them to let him leave right after. With that, he opens a holographic panel for everyone to see the item details. Everyone reacts in shock upon seeing it's a real purple tier item, the first on the server with dual stats. He then announces he'll be back in half an hour to run the dungeon again, and Lingzi decides she'll wait for him for the next round. He then reflects that it would be stupid not to use such an amazing dungeon to make money. 40 minutes later, the spectators comment that with the purple tier item, he can surely beat the 3 Saints Guild's time. On his new attempt, he charges the dungeon boss with his new dual swords. Breaking the record with a time of 31 minutes, he comments that the new weapon is really great to use. With a smile, he wonders if there are more challenges ahead and if he'll find another boss. He then considers if he's being too greedy, satisfied with the 23 green and 11 blue tier items he got. Outside, Lingzi celebrates the new record, but her friend informs her that the 4 strongest guilds in Korea have teamed up to beat them. Still, Lingzi smiles and confidently states she isn't worried, because next time, Anonymous Bro will be even faster. 40 minutes later, to Lingzi's surprise, he exits the dungeon in less than 10 minutes. Her friend speculates if he made a mistake and was defeated, but Lingzi finds it unlikely since the initial monsters are weak. He then laments out loud that he accidentally left the dungeon while checking his gear, and Lingzi tells him not to blame himself. Surprised, Lingzi questions him, asking if he really said he completed the dungeon. She then decides to check the leaderboard for herself. Shocked, she looks at the screen and is stunned by the score, wondering how it's even possible. Soon, the leaderboard reveals that the anonymous player has reached first place with a time of 9 minutes and 32 seconds. In disbelief at the 9.5-minute score, Lingzi is amazed he called it a mistake, and a player decides to post the picture for Korea. Soon after, the image of the leaderboard is shared on the forum with the taunt, "Koreans, did you see this?" On the other side, the Korean players yell that the score is impossible, unless he's a monster who farmed hidden bosses. Defeated, the Korean guild leader admits the gap is too wide and orders them to shut down the official website to avoid public outrage. Even with the victory, Liu Chen laments the mistake he made with his Tiger's Cry weapon. The surrounding crowd doesn't understand why he's blaming himself with such an incredible score, and one of them even jokes he'd love to make a mistake like that. With that, he decides he's explored the dungeon enough and is now going to sell the items he got. Just then, he's surprised to see the system announce a double experience bonus as a reward for his achievement. Sitting in a quiet place, he plans how to sell his items, but wonders about the best way to trade the most valuable ones. He then decides it's better to wait for the next day's double experience event to sell the items, as they'll be worth more then. While looking for what to do with the materials he collected, he's amazed by the huge number of people needing the items on the forum. With this, he realizes that the tiger bones and other items can be sold very easily. Seeing he has over 1,000 units, he realizes those materials are the most valuable items he owns and celebrates that he's going to be rich. 15 minutes later, he checks his phone and is stunned to see he's earned over 518,000 from the sales. Excited, he celebrates that he still has 17 units of flaming tiger's blood to sell, and that with so much money, he doesn't even need to rest. Back at Renai Peak, Liu Chen continues his hunt for local monsters. Satisfied with his performance, he declares his love for the Tiger King's cave. Just then, he realizes he's getting a call from Li Muhua. When he answers, Li Muhua offers double the price for the tiger materials he has, asking for 100 units of each. Next, Li Muhua warns him that his identity has been exposed and offers to help him hide for a while. With this, Liu Chen realizes he needs to be more careful, as the game has become a target for moving so much money. Liu Chen then asks him to help him and his sister hide, and Li Muhua assures him that no one will find them on the internet. Back in his office, Li Muhua expresses his concern about the upcoming server merge, concluding that now they can only rely on Liu Chen. The next day, inside the game, he celebrates his new total earnings and decides he'll train his minions a bit more before logging off to rest. Meanwhile, a guild leader gathers his men and asks if everyone is present. He then announces that the day's mission is to stop Anonymous Bro from leveling up during the double experience event, planning to wait for him at the cave entrance. Next, the leader orders his summoners to use an ability to prevent him from escaping or calling for help during the battle. Finally, he motivates everyone by saying they need to complete the mission to suppress China in the future, and his men shout that they won't bring shame upon themselves. One of the foreign players asks if they should leave the anonymous one alone, but the leader reassures him, saying more players will join in. Oriyuki, a Japanese player, shouts to his men that while the main force distracts the Chinese, their job is to kill the anonymous one. In another group, the American player Steven orders everyone to prepare to kill the anonymous player and hide their identities. A French player also commands his group, telling them to go find the anonymous one. Back at the cave, Lu Chen decides that since he's been up all night, he'll clear the dungeon one more time before logging out. As he gets closer, he notices people sneaking around in the forest and suspects it's not a good sign. 36 minutes later, exhausted, he decides not to log out and to take a nap right there in the dungeon instead. Outside, the crowd of players wonders why there's been no movement from the cave for over 40 minutes. The foreign group's leader then brags that their harassment strategy is working and that the Chinese won't be able to level up. Elsewhere, Lingzi observes a group of players with hidden IDs attacking other players, and her friend comments that this has been happening frequently. Furious, Lingzi reveals she checked the official website and discovered the entire Chinese server is under attack by foreign players. Suddenly, an opponent appears and attacks her, making her scream that she's being attacked too. As she tries to defend herself, she gets angry and questions how many players the foreign servers sent for the attack. That afternoon, the enemy leader celebrates that a total of 300,000 elite players from all countries have been sent to suppress China. Back in the real world, an exhausted Feng Lingji wonders why only I'm Wild and the anonymous one aren't responding, questioning where they've gone. Waking up, Lu Chen comments on how comfortable it is to sleep in the dungeon, but now he's a bit hungry. He is then stunned to see the huge number of messages he's received from Feng Ling. Upon reading them, he becomes enraged to find that foreign players are slaughtering the Chinese to stop them from leveling up and are mocking them on the official website. At that same moment, in the real world, his phone rings with a call from his sister, Xiaoyi. Worried, he answers and asks who bullied her, and she reveals it was the foreign players who destroyed her equipment. Crying, she explains that the guild leader had high hopes for her in the event, and she doesn't know how she'll explain what happened. He calms her down, telling her not to cry over some equipment, but she replies that those items belonged to the guild and had to be passed on. She then says the enemies are despicable, using skills to camp bodies and preventing her from reviving in the city. With determination, he asked her to tell him where her body is so he can save her, but she begs him not to risk it. He reassures her, puts on his gaming helmet, and tells those bastards to wait for him. Meanwhile, the enemy leader is informed that another team of 400 has arrived to save the anonymous one, and he orders them all killed. In another part of the map, Leng Nuo commands her team, shouting for them to advance at all costs and revive on the spot if they die, as they need to save the anonymous one. During the battle, her companion shouts that the enemies are too strong and they can't deal any damage to them. With that, Leng Nuo decides they must push forward to relieve some of the pressure on the anonymous one. Suddenly, a voice echoes across the battlefield, calling the enemies trash. Then, Lu Chen appears and announces his arrival. Upon seeing him, the Chinese players celebrate, shouting that he's finally here. The enemy leader points his sword and confirms to his men that the anonymous brother has arrived. Furious after waiting for 7 hours, he orders everyone to focus their attacks on him and turn him to dust in seconds. Multiple enemies charge forward, hitting him with their special skills. Dozens of attacks hit him simultaneously, including Sword Spirit Strike and Blazing Cannon. To everyone's surprise, the attacks only deal 1 point of damage, leaving the enemy leader shocked and confused. Outside the battle, Leng Nuo and her companion comment on their guild leader's incredibly high defense. The enemy leader then theorizes that the only difference between the servers is the power of the divine beasts, and that the anonymous one must be the mysterious person who possesses them. With his swords in hand, Lu Chen thanks everyone for coming to save him, and promises he'll make the enemies pay 100-fold. He then activates his skills, Wind Movement, and Tiger Descends the Mountain. With a single blow, he deals over 1,000 points of damage to the enemy leader, leaving him in despair. Next, he unleashes a wave of energy that hits and throws dozens of enemies at once. One of the vice leaders shouts for his men not to be afraid, because even if the leader dies, he'll still be there to command them. Out of patience, Lu Chen approaches and tells him he talks too much crap. With a single strike, he defeats him and sends him flying. Lu Chen continues to decimate the enemies with his attacks, as one of them screams in despair. Lingzi celebrates the anonymous brother's strength and says she wants to see if the foreigners will dare to cause trouble again. 20 minutes later, He announces he needs to leave for a moment and asks for help gathering all the dropped equipment. Other players question if they'll get to keep the items, but most agree they can't let the enemies get away with what they've done. With a smile, he reveals he'll use the equipment as bait, and the other players promise to help keep watch. He thanks everyone, puts on his mask, and decides it's time to go save Xiaoyi. Meanwhile, Lu Yi is on the ground, guarded by enemies, hoping her brother doesn't show up since there are so many experts there. Suddenly, a masked figure rushes in at high speed, defeating the enemies around her. Shocked, she wonders how it's possible that this person is her brother's friend. As she watches him fight, she admits to herself that he is incredibly strong. Soon, he approaches and tells her those items are hers now and should compensate for the lost fragments. She then asks if he really is her brother's friend, and he says yes, and that if she wants to thank someone, she should thank her brother. He then thinks to himself that the dungeon entrance should be almost ready. Back at the cave, Lengno and the others announce that the anonymous brother has returned, and they've already gathered the weapons. With a glow in his hand, he says to give the fish a little more bait. He then turns to Lengno and tells her to summon the bastards from the foreign servers. A player is stunned to see the bait is the tiger's cry sword itself, questioning if it's too high a price to pay. Angrily, Lingzi yells for them to notify the foreign servers and dares the 100,000 elites who threatened them to come and claim the reward. On a live stream, she taunts the foreign players, calling them trash and asking if they're afraid to come get their gear. At the Three Saints Guild, a player informs the boss that a large number of people have logged into Zone 122, where 2 Tiger's Cry swords were left. Lingzi points and warns that players from foreign servers are starting to arrive, and that even players from other zones are coming to watch. As the enemies arrive, the crowd shouts words of encouragement, telling the anonymous player to stand firm. He then turns to Lengnuo and the others, instructing them to grab their weapons and log off, assuring them that everything will be fine. Alone on the battlefield, he challenges the bastards from the foreign servers to come closer. Immediately, dozens of enemy players charge toward him, shouting orders to kill him and finish him off. With his swords in hand, he activates his skills Tiger Descending the Mountain and Frozen Roar. He then unleashes the power of the true fire of the blue flame. With a single swing of his sword, he cuts through one of the enemies. The enemy players scream, shocked by how terrifying he is, and wondering if the power of the divine beasts is really that strong. From a distance, the Chinese players watch in awe, commenting that he's cutting them down like grass, and that thankfully he's on their side. After the battle, he approaches the surviving leaders and asks if they are the masterminds behind the attack on China's Double Experience event. The enemy leader accuses him of being arrogant for relying solely on the power of his divine beast. Lu Chen then thinks that everyone believes his strength comes from the divine beast, and decides to let them think that way. The enemies mock him, saying they are still losers, but he questions them, asking if their levels would be so high without the delay they caused. With his swords drawn, he warns that he didn't plan on taking the game so seriously, but they've pissed him off and now he's going to teach them a lesson. The enemy leader calls him a fool and a madman, screaming that he can dream on if he thinks they'll apologize. With a determined look, Lu Chen bets they will come to apologize in less than 5 days and says that now they can die. In an instant, he rushes forward and delivers a powerful blow that defeats the last enemies. Lingzi praises him, calling him her idol, but he warns that the matter isn't over and that he's just tired. He then says he's going to rest for a night. Back in his room, he decides to sleep first and settle the score with them the next day. 10 hours later, on the Korean server, he reflects that although he lost the opportunity to make money, he will kill everyone who offends China. Alone in a mountainous landscape, he thinks that the entrance to the Lost Garden of Eden must be nearby. With a satisfied smile, he celebrates finally finding the place and declares that the game can now begin. As he approaches a large monolith, he warns the bastards that he will show them the consequences of offending China. Suddenly, the system announces that an anonymous player has activated the Lost Garden of Eden, initiating a quest that could lead to the merging of the servers. The Korean players get excited, speculating that this is the Divine Beast quest and that they will now get one too. Facing the monolith, Lu Chen smiles and tells the enemies to wait as poisonous mist and wild beasts spread throughout the server. The Korean players wonder about the location of the Garden of Eden's entrance, but one of them comments that with so many players, they should find it soon. Suddenly, a female player screams that it's over there, as she is attacked by monsters at the location. The Korean leader orders them to start a live stream to show everyone how to get the Divine Beast, and for how long the anonymous player can remain arrogant. Elsewhere, Lingzi and her group watch in frustration, lamenting that the Korean server has found the garden and will now grow stronger. The Korean players celebrate, assuming that China is desperate, but one of them notices someone at the entrance. Suddenly, Lu Chen reveals himself and warns that to enter the Lost Garden, they'll have to get through him first. The Koreans react in shock, recognizing the purple equipment and wondering how the anonymous player got there. The Chinese players watch the stream and cheer, with one girl shouting that she wants to marry him for his bravery. The Korean leader yells for them not to be afraid, as the mist in the area weakens attributes and corrodes equipment. With that, the players charge forward en masse, shouting that with so many of them he won't stand a chance. Lu Chen, however, declares that he is a monster and that the mist only grants him a bonus. Lingzi and her friend notice that his damage seems to have increased and that the mist isn't affecting him. The Koreans wonder why he's stronger, and the leader, furious, yells for them to keep pushing forward. With a defiant look, he tells them to bring it on, as he'll kill as many as they send. Lengnuo and her group watch the battle, amazed, commenting that he is a one-man army. From a distance, Lu Yi watches the stream and remarks, awestruck, that the anonymous player is truly incredible. An hour later, Lu Chen continues to fight, noticing that the mist is rapidly consuming the durability of his equipment. The enemies despair, shouting that he's strong even without weapons, and that it's all completely over now. In an act of desperation, one of the Korean leaders tries to reason with him, but his companion cuts him off. With a gesture, Lu Chen silences him, warning that he doesn't negotiate and that their time isn't up yet. The leader then tries to intimidate him, asking if he knows who he is in real life, but the masked man replies that he doesn't care and tells him to get lost or die. The leader decides to retreat for now, and his subordinate immediately agrees. Lu Chen then releases a wave of energy that spreads across the area. With the battle paused, he instructs his spirit dragon to wake him if anything happens. The next day, back in his room, he celebrates that the enemies didn't even try to investigate, which made everything easier. In the main city of the Korean server, a dense purple mist covers the streets. Players scream in panic, realizing they can no longer leave the city, and that the Korean server is doomed. Suddenly, the officers of the Korean Guild Alliance appear and sincerely beg for Mr. Anonymous's mercy. Outside, the Chinese players celebrate the victory, laughing at how the enemies, once so arrogant, are now admitting their mistakes. Back in the garden, Lu Chen prepares for the final blow and warns that if they don't want to die, they should get the hell out. Indignant, one of the Korean leaders accuses him of being a sore winner, questioning his intentions. Raising his swords, Lu Chen declares that if he's going to be a sore winner, so be it. He warns that the 7 nations can dream on if they think the attack on China will end like this. The Korean leader accuses him of disrupting the game's order, shouting that it's an outrage. With contempt, Lu Chen asks if they considered that when they attacked China, stating he's already been merciful enough. The Korean guildmaster then approaches and asks what exactly he wants to leave their server in peace, but he replies that it all depends on their sincerity. Worried about the ceaselessly spreading fog, the leaders decide to join forces with others to see what they can do. The sun rises on a new morning. In a live broadcast, Lingzi announces she is with the war god Fengyan and other leaders who previously attacked China. Immediately, they all bow and offer a deep apology to the Chinese server players for their reckless actions. The viewers celebrate, assuming they're afraid the anonymous player will come after them too. To show their remorse, the Japanese leader offers Lingzi some equipment they've collected as compensation. The compensation list includes mithril swords, green tier armor, and hundreds of other pieces of equipment and materials. The leader then begs her to intercede with the anonymous player, and she agrees to talk to him. With the list in hand, Lingzi turns to the camera and shouts that the Chinese server is not so easily intimidated. Surprised, she announces that the guild alliances from the other 5 countries have also contacted her, and she will now distribute the equipment to everyone. At the Korean Guild's headquarters, the leader laments that the anonymous player refuses to accept their apology and decides to seek him out again. Back in the game, they bow before Lu Chen, admitting their mistake and begging him to let them go. He asks if they truly understand what they did. He agrees to let them go, but demands 4 divine beasts, in addition to the same compensation the other countries offered. The leader tries to negotiate. With a firm gaze, Lu Chen warns that there's no negotiation and tells them not to make him regret it, as it was thanks to him they found the Misty Forest. With that, the leader agrees to the terms, and Lu Chen tells him to inform the Chinese guilds to send people to their location. Soon, Lengnuo and her group arrive, thanking him for the opportunity, while others praise him and say they bow before him. Lu Chen then invites them to enter and get the divine beasts, but his companion questions if they shouldn't guard the entrance. With a smile, he says it's not necessary, as he wants to see if they dare to break the agreement. An hour later, he says his goodbyes and tells everyone to be careful. Relieved, the Korean leaders celebrate that the plague is finally gone and decide to go in so the compensation can be taken to Huaxia. The next day, Lu Chen stretches and celebrates that he's finally recovering after 2 exhausting days. He then notices his right leg is almost healed, but his left still needs more time to fully recover. Holding the helmet, he promises his sister that he will soon be able to stand up and walk to her. Back in the game, he checks the trading area and decides that before making more money, he needs to upgrade his Legion Order. Soon, the system screen displays the upgrade to Legion Order, Single Soldier. He gets excited seeing the new feature to replace species for better attributes. With that, he commands his minions to go capture a Banshee, head to the Tiger King's cave, and prepare to sell equipment. Lu Chen reflects that with the money he spent, he can no longer enter the Tiger King's cave, but now it's time to sell the equipment he's been saving. He then makes a list of all the valuable items he's accumulated, and to avoid any headaches, decides to hold an auction. On behalf of the Raging Wave Guild, he sends a mass email announcing the auction will begin at 8 in the evening. The news spreads quickly, and players get excited about the chance to buy the rare items from the anonymous brother. At night, in the auction house, he thanks everyone for coming and announces the first lot of mithril swords. Immediately, a flood of bids fills the hall with prices rising quickly. Surprised, he wonders if mithril swords are really that popular. He then announces the next items, revealing that the black ice cloaks, which no one has ever seen before, are up next. With that, he presents the cloaks and prepares to show the item's stats. The system screen displays the specifications for the Black Ice Cloak, a level 15 blue tier item. The crowd reacts in astonishment, realizing this is the item dropped by the hidden boss and that it hasn't even appeared on foreign servers yet. The bidding resumes even more fiercely, with the prices soaring into the tens of thousands. Seeing the excitement, he informs everyone that he's selling 2 pieces as a single set. Suddenly, a player raises a paddle with a bid of 100,000. Awkwardly, he wonders if all this fuss is really necessary, since the truly good items haven't even come up yet. With 2 bangs of the gavel, the cloak set is sold for 100,000. Right after, he presents the 3-piece Tiger King sets, whose stats leave everyone amazed. With that, he announces the starting bid for the sets is 100,000. Immediately, the bids skyrocket, jumping from 110,000 to 170,000 in seconds. He then announces the main event of the evening, the Tiger's Cry swords, and thinks excitedly that he's going to make a fortune. The system displays the incredible stats of the purple tier dual swords. The crowd erupts in euphoria, commenting that the stats and special effects are insane, and it's a perfect weapon for showing off. With a starting bid of 150,000, the prices shoot up, quickly surpassing 210,000. He then thinks that with the 60 tiger's blood and 20 tiger's heads he still has left, the night is destined to make him a huge fortune. Back in his room, he takes off the helmet and decides to check his total earnings. Looking at his phone, he's stunned to see he's made over 14 million and celebrates that he and his sister are no longer poor. Suddenly, he notices something and exclaims in surprise that his leg is healed. Leaping with joy, he shouts that he'll buy a big villa for his sister the next day and give her a huge surprise. Based on the images provided, here is the narrative adaptation. Arriving at the Diamond Mansion sales office, Lu Chen reflects that when he started playing Empyrean, he only thought about earning enough to improve his and his sister's lives. Then, he's amazed by his 10 million and notes that his sister, who works so hard for him, has no idea her brother is about to buy a mansion. Meanwhile, a saleswoman tells a client that the Diamond Mansion homes are the best quality in the city and also the most expensive. Nearby, 2 colleagues gossip that good looks are useless if she can't make a sale, revealing that her refusal to sleep with the manager will only speed up her firing. Just then, the saleswoman is lamenting another failed sale as Lu Chen walks into the office. One of the colleagues dismisses him as a poor guy, deciding the other one should try to pitch a sale to him. With that, the saleswoman approaches and asks if he's interested in the mid-range or high-end apartments, but Lu Chen declares he's there to see the mansions. Suddenly, he recognizes her as his schoolmate, Su Xiaowei, and wonders how she ended up as a saleswoman. Unaware, Su Xiaowei offers to give him a presentation on the properties, but Lu Chen cuts her off, asking to just see the houses. So, she asks if his car is outside so she can follow him, but Lu Chen replies that he doesn't have a car. 2 co-workers mock the situation, saying it's weird to want to buy a mansion without a car, and that only Su Xiaowei would be foolish enough to take him. Despite this, Su Xiaowei offers to take him to the mansion area on her electric scooter, and he readily accepts. During the ride, Lu Chen asks Su Xiaowei if she really doesn't recognize him, revealing who he is. Surprised, she says she heard he was disabled, while Lu Chen happily confirms he's all better now and asks about her. With a serious expression, Su Xiaowei replies that her situation is a long story. Lu Chen then figures out the manager is deliberately making things hard for her, but comforts her by saying the manager is the one who should leave and that he'll make a call. On the phone, someone instructs him to just show the card he received, and the regional manager will find him and fire the current manager, which surprises him. The person on the phone adds that with a single word from him, even the CEO could be fired. Now feeling more confident, Su Xiaowei tells him to stop bragging. Now in a room, Lu Chen states that 8 million is not a problem, but he heard the manager wanted to fire his friend, Su Xiaowei. At this, the manager realizes Lu Chen isn't just there to buy a house. The co-worker then tells the manager that the guy definitely didn't come to buy a house, since he has no car and his relationship with Su Xiaowei isn't normal. Next, the manager accuses him of being Su Xiaowei's boyfriend, there to defend her, and Lu Chen challenges him, asking what the problem would be if he were. The manager warns him for his audacity on his turf, stating that some little punk can't turn the tables, and then calls for someone. Even with Su Xiaowei asking him to drop it, Lu Chen assures her he'll take care of that insult on her behalf. Then, Lu Chen places a card on the table and asks if the manager has ever seen it before, receiving the reply that it's a never-before-seen diamond card. Lu Chen explains it's normal for someone at his level not to know the card, and suggests he ask his superiors, but the manager accuses him of trying to trick him. Upon calling his boss, the manager is informed that a diamond card is a very big deal, and its owner is no ordinary person, receiving orders to treat him with respect. The manager then despairs, thinking it's all over, as the boss is coming personally because of such an important card. At that moment, a man accompanied by security guards enters the place, asking who dares to cause trouble at Diamond Mansion. The manager screams for everyone to get out, and even when a guard reminds him that he was the one who called them, he denies it and yells at them to leave. Immediately after, the manager apologizes, saying he was wrong and blind not to recognize his importance, begging for forgiveness. The scene leaves the manager in tears, while the co-worker who mocked him watches the turn of events in complete shock. Lu Chen tells the manager to wait for his supervisor, while the saleswomen try to intervene, saying there's no need to bother leadership over something so trivial. Just then, regional manager Liu Yun arrives and orders them to bring him to the Diamond Card VIP immediately. Lu Chen walks up to him, explaining he has a situation involving his friend that he hopes the manager can resolve. Shouting, "I understand!" Liu Yun turns to manager Wang Luyong and tells him he's fired. Next, Liu Yun points to the other employee and tells her to collect her final pay and leave, much to her surprise. The regional manager then turns to Su Xiaowei and announces that she is the new store manager, effective immediately. To make up for the unpleasant experience, Liu Yun apologizes to Lu Chen and offers an extra 30% off on top of his diamond card discount. Lu Chen is ecstatic, realizing the deal will save him millions. He'll be paying less than half the original price. Outside, Su Xiaowei thanks him, but he brushes it off. She then asks if he plays the popular game Empyrean. Lu Chen says he does, adding, they'll meet in-game if fate allows it. He's already thinking about how happy his sister will be in their new home. Back in the game, in the chaotic graveyard, he realizes that at level 17, he can no longer hunt the Tiger King. He decides to face 1,000 banshees to level up instead. Lu Chen then charges a group of banshees alone, defeating them. After the fight, he finds a stone gate and wonders if it could lead to a new map. A small girl's spirit materializes before the gate, begging for help and saying she's in a terrible situation. Having defeated enough banshees, Lu Chen asks the girl if she has a quest for him. She confirms, but warns that it can only be completed solo. A quest window opens, detailing the task of purging resurrected spirits. Lu Chen celebrates when he sees the reward is finally the ancient heart. Lu Chen accepts the quest and pushes the gate open to enter. Inside, he realizes these must be the level 22 elite resurrected spirits, and that the quest is going to be really tough. He attacks one of the enemies, but quickly realizes they're immune to all his strikes. The spirits then counterattack with magic spells that deal considerable damage. He realizes the enemies only use high-damage mana attacks and decides his only option is to activate the special effect of Tiger's Roar to convert his physical attacks. He immediately activates the skill, and a projection of a tiger appears as he charges forward. The strike hits both spirits at the same time, damaging them both. On impact, the two enemies begin to disintegrate. After the victory, a system window displays all the rewards he earned for defeating the spirit. He reflects on how challenging it is to kill them alone. He also notes that the scorpion lion's essence will let him evolve his spirit beasts. He then considers that his skills have long cooldowns, and the quest to collect 250 items will take a long time. Still, he decides to press on and moves to the next fight. 10 hours later, the spirit girl thanks him. Lu Chen celebrates getting the ancient heart, which will finally increase his quality level. When he decides to use the ancient heart, a system message warns that his skin can't handle the energy and instructs him to remove his human skin. In his new form, Lu Chen asks the little ghost why she's so scared, since she's a ghost herself. The girl just cries in fear. He then crushes the ancient heart in his hand. As the item's energy flows into his body, he commands a check of his attributes. A system window displays his new stats. He's now level 18 with a 5-star quality, revealing his Black Bolton form. He celebrates the incredible boost to all his stats, including attack and defense, and decides to see what other quests are available. Lu Chen tells the child to stop crying because it's creepy. He then asks her about the next quest. Resigned to her reaction, he decides to change back to his normal form, wondering if he's really that ugly, especially to a ghost. Back in his human form, he tells her to speak. The girl thanks him and asks if he can kill another 3,000 resurrected spirits. Lu Chen is shocked by the number, exclaiming that those things are incredibly hard to kill. Still, he accepts the quest, admitting she's relentless. The Cleanse the Spirits Completely quest window appears. He decides to merge the undead bloodline to at least gain an area of effect attack. Once the undead bloodline is activated, it begins to lower the physical defense of all nearby enemies. Shouting, "Let's do this!" he launches an area attack at the spirits. The new power strikes multiple enemies at once. He celebrates that he can now attack 6 at a time, making things much more efficient. While fighting the monsters, he decides to check on the other players' progress and notices several have already reached level 16. 3 days later, now at level 19, he finally completes the quest. He laments that the area doesn't drop any gear and decides to look for more quests inside the gate. Just ahead, he's surprised to see a valley filled with countless monsters. In the center of the valley, an army of dark creatures is gathered on a huge stone platform. The creatures are revealed to be more resurrected spirits, wandering among large stone monoliths. Watching the spirits kneel, Lu Chen wonders if they're welcoming something. Just then, Sanabis, the level 27 vanguard leader of the resurrected spirits, appears before them. Lu Chen gasps in dread. He then wonders aloud if he's supposed to fight that guy next. The undead leader then offers their sacrifice to his great god. Immediately, Sanabis plunges his sword into the center of a large ritual circle. Intense energy radiates from the ritual as he stands at the center of the formation. Shocked, Lu Chen realizes the boss is sacrificing his own minions. Concluding he can't win, he decides it's better to just turn in the quest. He quickly returns to the gate's entrance. The ghost girl thanks him. He remarks that with the 2 ancient fragments, he can finally upgrade 2 more talents, choosing the werewolf's critical strike and the tiger demon's combo. With his new triple critical hit and triple combo skills, he celebrates his newfound power and decides he needs to get more ancient fragments. He then asks Xiaomin if she needs any more help. She says he's already done so much, but Lu Chen insists it's no trouble. She agrees to give him a new quest, but warns him of the extreme danger. He declares that danger is his favorite thing. A new quest called Stealing Mana appears. It explains he must steal mana from the soul-sacrificing formation. Lu Chen calculates that 100,000 mana is enough to create a divine beast. He figures that at this rate, he'll end up fighting Sanabi sooner or later anyway. Back in the valley, Lu Chen sees that Sanabis hasn't appeared yet. He deduces he'll have to enter the formation to steal the mana. Just then, a circular portal opens in one of the stone monoliths. He then realizes the quest left a loophole for players to collect mana. He decides to meditate to cultivate it. As soon as he sits inside the formation, he starts gaining thousands of points of pure mana. He notes that the process is effective and surprisingly fast. Suddenly, he opens his eyes, sensing an approaching presence. He then panics, seeing Sanabis arrive before he could finish stealing all the mana. Desperate, Lu Chen clasps his hands and prays to all the gods, begging not to be seen by that guy. He then plunges his sword into the ground, releasing a wave of energy inside the ritualistic circle. Suddenly, Sanabis' sword glows with a new energy. Looking around, Sanabis wonders why the effect is weaker than he imagined, asking himself if someone might be causing trouble. With the mana theft mission finally complete, Lu Chen quickly retreats from the area. In his hand, he holds the pure mana that was collected in the form of a small sphere. Back to safety, he asks Xiaomin for more quests. She calls him Benefactor and asks for his help to destroy Sanabis. With a nervous expression, Lu Chen suggests that maybe she should find someone else. Xiaomin reassures him, explaining that because he stole the mana, Sanabis now has only 1/10 of his original strength, making Lu Chen realize there's a chance. She continues, revealing that Sanabis' death will open the Gate of the Dead, an important clue to finding the Gate of Ragnarok, which Lu Chen recognizes as part of his main quest. A system window displays his main quest, Divine Blood and Demonic Seed, which requires him to complete several dungeons, including Ragnarok. The quest progress screen confirms that the Ragnarok dungeon is still incomplete. With that, Lu Chen finally accepts the quest, and a grateful Xiaoman promises to help him. The new quest, Kill the Watchdog, appears, describing that this is Cenobis' moment of greatest weakness and the best time for a counterattack. The quest details then specify that he must cooperate with Xiaoman to kill Cenobis within 5 hours, and that the enemy will grow stronger if he dies. The quest reward is then revealed, the Ghost Pet Xiaoman, of purple rarity and unique per server. Seeing the quest information, Lu Chen is impressed, exclaiming that a purple ghost pet sounds amazing. Back at the ritual site, he notices the boss and the monsters are gone, and asks Xiaoman to tell him about her abilities so he can come up with a strategy. Ignoring him, Xiaoman dives into a crevice in the rocks, and he yells at her not to act on her own. Resigned, Lu Chen decides the best thing to do is follow her. Inside the crevice, they find a red orb pulsating with energy. Lu Chen asks if that orb in the center of the formation is what activates it, but Xiaoman interrupts him, ordering him not to touch it. When he asks what's wrong, she asks if he knows of the 3 divine orbs, and Lu Chen replies that he only knows about the Dragon Balls. Xiaoman then explains that the orb is a powerful imitation, capable of killing with a single touch, and reveals that her entire family was sucked into it. She warns him that he can't take it now, and that they must deal with Sanabis first, and Lu Chen agrees. Meanwhile, Sanabis is seen waiting in a cave. Lu Chen suggests a plan where she draws the attack so he can strike, but Xiaoman scolds him, stating that neither of them would survive the enemy's mana attack. Frustrated, he asks why they are even fighting it then. Xiaoman clarifies that its weakness is its movement and attack speed, and that they'll need to move nimbly to dodge the blows, since they can't use ranged attacks. Determined to risk it all for the money, Lu Chen asks how Xiaoman will help him, and she assures him she will when the time is right. He then charges forward, yelling for her not to let him down, and announcing that he's going after Sanabis. Immediately after, he unleashes a swift sequence of strikes on the fallen enemy. With that, he realizes the boss's health isn't high, having already depleted a quarter of it with that one assault. Angered, Sanabis gets up and prepares for combat. Xiaoman warns him to be careful of the counterattack, a yellow-grade technique that will release 13 sword energies, and tells him to get ready to run. Lu Chen, however, gets excited by the news, thinking he can buy a learning scroll for that technique. Without hesitation, Lu Chen shouts that he will buy and use the yellow-grade summary scroll. Immediately after, Sanabis attacks with a powerful energy slash that rushes toward him. After narrowly dodging, Lu Chen complains that the blow would have split him in two if it had hit. At that, Xiaoman yells for her benefactor to turn around and attack, because now is the time. He then turns and unleashes a series of rapid attacks against Sanabis' chest. Xiaoman warns him to retreat quickly, as the boss is about to attack again. He then uses a cloning technique to dodge, questioning if all she does is give orders. Ignoring the comment, Sanabis lets out a deep growl. Soon, the enemy raises its spirit sword and begins to channel a rain of blades. Seeing a large sphere of energy forming, Lu Chen hurriedly asks her to tell him what that skill is. Xiaoman frantically explains that it's an area of effect attack that covers the entire valley and that they need to run for the entrance. Hearing the warning, Lu Chen screams in pure frustration at the situation. Immediately, a rain of green energy beams begins to fall all over the area. While dodging, he asks what grade that skill is, and she replies that it's Mystic grade. With a smile, Lu Chen declares that he really wants it, while Xiaoman urges him to go back and attack. Faced with the enemy's ability, Lu Chen yells that this quest really wasn't made for humans. 8 minutes later, he laments that his stamina isn't enough to keep blocking the blows. At that moment, Xiaoman appears in an aura of light and asks her benefactor to promise to avenge her and her family. Then, a large explosion of energy erupts where she was standing. Engulfed in a new aura, Lu Chen realizes, surprised, that his stamina has been restored. An energy barrier forms around him, blocking the enemy's next attack. The barrier then shatters on impact. With that, he commands his final blow, Tiger's Roar, to blast that thing away. A projection of a tiger manifests behind him as he channels the attack. The blow hits Sanabis head-on, sending him flying backward. Defeated. A system window informs him that the level 27 boss has been killed and that he has received vital energy points and pure mana. Right after, another window shows that he has received the dungeon source, a mystic grade technique scroll, and the key to the Gate of the Dead. He celebrates receiving the technique, but soon wonders who to turn the quest into, since Xiaomin died. The spirit of Xiaomin then appears to thank him and asks if she can accompany him now that she has a spiritual body. With a, "Of course," he accepts, and a system notification confirms that he has received the purple-grade ghost pet, Xiaomin. With the new purple-grade ghost pet, Lu Chen excitedly asks her to show him her stats. A system window then displays Xiaomin's details, revealing her immunity, possession, and spiritual enhancement aura skills. He is stunned by the immunity to physical attacks and invisibility, exclaiming that her possession and enhancement aura skills are terrifying. He then asks what the key to the Gate of the Dead is for, and Xiaomin reveals that it opens a level 50 elite dungeon nearby. After dismissing the idea of a level 50 dungeon, Lu Chen asks about the dungeon creation fragment, and she explains that its function is to obtain and combine essences. He then challenges this information, stating that essences can be stored in the inventory. Upon checking, he's shocked to see his essence has decreased, concluding that he needs to create a dungeon to feed his divine beasts. Together with his beasts, he decides that before returning to the city, he first needs to feed them. While reviewing his inventory, he checks all the new items he has accumulated, including the pills, fragments, and technique scrolls. Finally, he decides to use the items he's won, commenting that he'll finally have a proper area of effect attack after learning the yellow grade technique. In a city square, Qingyi Taoge attacks Leng Nuo with his sword. Leng Nuo quickly manages to block the strike with her own blade. While Xu Bu praises Leng Nuo's strength, her companion notes there's still a level gap between them, and their opponent isn't using his full power. Qingyi Taoge then compliments her, but says it's a shame, as he no longer wants to play with her. He then strikes her with a swift blow that lands squarely. Surprised by the attack, she prepares to use one of her techniques. Leng Nuo then unleashes her skill, 10,000 Sword Burst. Standing over his defeated opponent, Qingyi Taoge calls her trash and says the battle proved the Raging Wave Guild doesn't live up to its reputation. Kneeling, Leng Nuo asks why he brought up the guild, since the fight was just between them. With a smile, he reminds her that he is the leader of the Brotherhood, while she is the leader of Raging Wave. As her companions urge her to calm down, Leng Nuo declares she is leaving the guild. This means he defeated her, but not Raging Wave. With disdain, Qingyi Taoge tells her to leave, stating that a trash guild like hers should be disbanded. With a sad expression, Leng Nuo says she doesn't want the guild's name to be insulted, and says goodbye to her friends. Just then, an off-screen voice asks if he said she could leave. Immediately after, Lu Chen appears with an air of confidence. Everyone present, including Qingyi Taoge, exclaims in surprise, "Anonymous!" Approaching her, Lu Chen asks if she's being bullied. Relieved by his return, Leng Nuo apologizes for shaming the guild. Lu Chen then says he's the one who should be sorry and tells her not to worry, as he'll take care of everything. Turning to the opposing group, Lu Chen declares that today, either the Brotherhood Guild crushes theirs, or they will leave the server. The crowd reacts with astonishment at his arrogance, questioning if he can really crush the guild with that gear. Qingyi Taoge confronts him, saying things have changed. Since he was the first to reach the 8th floor of the Immortal Tower, his guild is now the strongest. Lu Chen agrees to a battle outside the city to settle the score and challenges him, saying his only fear is that the other won't keep his promise. At this, the surrounding players get excited, talking about the fight and deciding to watch. Outside the city gates, members of both guilds gather for the imminent confrontation. Some onlookers comment that the Raging Wave side looks disorganized and outnumbered compared to the Brotherhood. Qingyi Taoge then announces that the Brotherhood will give them the first move, but if they lose, they must leave this area. As Leng Nuo tries to organize her troops, Lu Chen approaches and asks what they're doing. Shibu says they'll give it their all in the group battle, but Lu Chen cuts him off, declaring that he alone is enough. Taking a step forward, Lu Chen warns everyone to get one thing straight: nobody touches his people. The Brotherhood members react with indignation, accusing him of arrogance and shouting for him to see the power difference between them. Qingyi Taoge then orders his men to advance, shouting that they have 200 more people and that they must kill. Facing the charge, Lu Chen asks if their magic defenses are higher than those of the thousands of spirits he can kill with a single blow. He then leaps and unleashes a powerful area of effect attack called Giant Tower Sweep, with the energy of a tiger's roar. The crowd wonders if Anonymous has gotten conceited, thinking the legend of the war god is about to end. Shibu's companion asks Leng Nuo if he can do it, but they both agree that fighting like this is too reckless. Qingyi Taoge then challenges him for daring to face them head-on, vowing to tear him to pieces to avenge his past shame. With a look of contempt, Lu Chen replies that, unfortunately, he isn't worthy. Immediately, he launches the first strike of his giant tower sweep technique. The onlookers are amazed by the power of this area of effect technique they've never seen before. The first wave of energy hits several enemies, felling them instantly. Shocked, Qingyi Taoge wonders what kind of area of effect technique deals over 1,000 damage in a single hit. Then Lu Chen continues to deliver a sequence of arcing strikes. Seeing his fallen comrades, Qingyi Taoge despairs as he realizes most of them have already been defeated. With this, he realizes they were all wrong. Anonymous didn't disappear, he just went to a stronger world. Immediately after, Qingyi Taoge himself is struck and falls to the ground, defeated. In a state of shock, Lengnuo's companion exclaims that everyone was dead in 10 strikes, while Lengnuo questions how that's even possible. The onlookers wonder why he keeps swinging his sword, and one of them explains it's to intimidate them and prevent anyone from reviving. Alone on the field, Lu Chen continues his strikes, ensuring no enemy rises again. Victorious in the middle of the battlefield, Lu Chen oddly wonders where the screams and applause are. In complete shock, one of the onlookers shouts that this guy is definitely not human. His guildmates celebrate their leader's unbelievable power, declaring that now they'll see who dares to bully them. He then decides to forget the applause and get straight to business, announcing he's heading to the Twin Towers. The crowd stirs at the news that Anonymous is going to the Twin Towers, predicting the day will be interesting. Everyone rushes to the tower, shouting to hurry up so they don't miss the show. Inside the tower, Lu Chen uses his technique to easily defeat a monster. With a determined look, he decides that this time he'll clear more floors so he won't have to come back so often. Outside, a group watches in disbelief, questioning how he finished a floor that should take 3 minutes in just 10 seconds. A female player informs everyone that they saw Anonymous take only 13 seconds to reach the 5th floor and suggests they place bets on which floor he'll reach. While one player bets on the 12th floor, citing the increasing difficulty and that his leader only made it to the 8th, she worries about the 15th floor's difficulty. Lang Nuo then bets 2,000 on the 15th floor, regretting she can't bet higher, while her friend praises the guild leader's strength. On the 12th floor, Lu Chen finally notices he can no longer clear all the monsters instantly. Seeing that it took him 3 minutes, the crowd declares he's hit his limit and bets he'll make it to the 14th floor at most. A female player then announces in amazement that Anonymous has reached the 15th floor, and her friend complains that other servers are accusing them of cheating. With a confident smile, the first player says she believes Brother Anonymous can climb even higher. The guild members celebrate that Brother Anonymous has reached the 16th floor and that now everyone else has lost their bets. In shock, the crowd exclaims that he's already climbed to the 17th floor, realizing he hasn't lost any health even with so many attacking him. Meanwhile, Lu Chen pushes through the 18th and 19th floors, facing increasingly stronger monsters. On the 20th floor, he attacks a giant stone golem. After the battle, he laments that he's still too weak, admitting he can't defeat the monsters on that floor. Outside, 2 players comment that what he did is humanly impossible, while Lu Chen ignores them and just shows off. He then decides to keep fighting the monsters in the tower, since the spiritual source fragments are the only way to improve the source in his territory. To gather resources, he returns to the 7th floor, realizing it will take a long time for the others to catch up to him. Faced with his performance, the crowd disperses, commenting that it's demoralizing and that the Raging Wave Guild is now completely invincible. Lengno approaches to thank the guild leader. He replies that she doesn't need to thank him, as he's not a good leader, and the guild owes everything to them, deciding to keep only the spiritual source fragments and distribute the rest. Shocked by his generosity, she questions how this can be, and he advises her to pay more attention to magic cultivation after level 25. Before leaving, Lu Chen tells her he sent a friend request, and that she should let him know if anyone bullies her. As she watches him walk away, Leng Nuo reflects that the guild leader didn't completely ignore them. Nearby, 2 players comment that if magic becomes prominent after level 25, it means Anonymous is already above that level, which terrifies them. Lu Chen considers that since everyone is in the underground mine dungeon, his high level will prevent him from gaining experience, so he decides to look for a hidden boss. Outside the mine entrance, a crowd of players gathers. In the midst of the group, several players shout for teammates, specifying the classes and skills needed for the dungeon. With that, Lu Chen decides to discreetly enter the dungeon to see if he can find a secret area. Inside the cave, he quickly advances against the local monsters. Next, he comes face to face with a large ogre monster, the dungeon boss. After defeating it, he comments that, being only level 23, the boss wasn't worth it, and that he was hoping to find a hidden dungeon. A system window then congratulates him on the new record, and announces that he has awakened a hidden dungeon, causing him to celebrate the discovery. Shortly after, An alert informs him that the Abyssal Zombie King is approaching, and 5 minutes later, he prepares for the enemy's arrival. Suddenly, a massive monster leaps toward him. The creature reveals itself as the level 30 Abyssal Zombie King, a diamond rank hidden boss. As he attacks, Lu Chen complains about the monster's ugliness and notes that its level is too higher than his. He then gets into a combat stance wielding his 2 swords. After being hit, he suffers from several negative effects, including blocked meridians and external bleeding. Surprised by the effects, he exclaims that the enemy is too strong. He then braces himself to face the enormous and threatening Abyssal Zombie King. As he defends against the blow, Lu Chen realizes it's no wonder the level 30 diamond rank boss took a quarter of his health with a single hit. Even so, he challenges the creature, saying he's not afraid and is ready for combat. He then leaps to attack the giant monster, delivering multiple strikes. Lu Chen calculates that the boss has high defense and 60,000 health, plus crowd control, which makes the fight very difficult for other teams. Suddenly, the Abyssal Zombie King strikes the ground and burrows into the earth. Surprised that the monster can also bury itself, he wonders if he will die in this dungeon. Outside, a system notification announces that the dungeon has been paused because a team is challenging the hidden boss. The crowd grows restless, wondering who activated the hidden boss, and worried about the dungeon's sudden pause. On the second level of the mine, a group of female players is informed they will be teleported, and Lu Yi gets annoyed with the interruption. Lu Yi laments that her team's progress, which worked hard to become a top guild, will be delayed and wonders who is responsible. Her companion deduces that, having leveled up so quickly, the only person who could activate the boss is Anonymous. With this, Lu Yi expresses her curiosity, saying she's heard of Anonymous before, but this time she wants to see what he's like. Back in the battle, Lu Chen shouts for Xiaomin to make him invisible, and a woman who suddenly appeared replies that she understands. He then leaps away as the ground where he stood is destroyed by the emerging boss. After landing, Lu Chen complains that hiding underground makes the boss truly impossible to attack. The hidden boss emerges from the ground right beside him. Lu Chen positions himself behind the monster, which doesn't seem to have noticed his presence. With this, he realizes that while he's invisible, the boss can't see him, which gives him a good opportunity. Seizing the chance, he delivers multiple blows to the enemy and ensures that this time, he won't let the monster hit him again. He then prepares to continue the assault against the creature. Half an hour later, with the boss defeated, a system window displays all the rewards, including health points, talent fragments, and several level 30 items. Excited by so many good items, he decides to check the dungeon recruitment order first. Upon receiving the qualification to recruit the Zombie King, he celebrates that he'll no longer be short on dungeon bosses and decides to check the mask's attributes. Lu Chen discovers that the blockage of his meridians was caused by the mask and is impressed by its attributes, noticing that the remaining item is the key to the second level. Upon analyzing the key, he decides he will unlock level 25 of the mine for the server, but he will challenge it later, as he needs to work on his own dungeon. He then clicks the key to activate the unlock. Outside, the crowd is stunned to receive the news that Anonymous has completed the dungeon. Louis comments that they have been fighting for a long time, but Anonymous not only cleared the dungeon easily, but also defeated the hidden boss. As he leaves the dungeon, Lu Chen notices the crowd gathered to see him and congratulates himself for having turned invisible beforehand. Suddenly, he is surprised to see Lu Yi there. With a shocked expression, he exclaims that his silly sister is there too. Still invisible, Lu Chen observes his sister and notices her gear is really good. He concludes she's the core of the team, but he doesn't know her level. So, he decides to give her a light tap to check her HP and get an idea of her level. The tap deals an unexpected amount of damage, and he yells for her to stop. As Lu Yi asks who's hitting her, Lu Chen panics and warns her to stop moving, as each step increases the damage by 10%. Then, her sword falls to the ground as she is defeated. In complete despair, he grabs his head and screams that there's no way he could have killed his own sister. A teammate approaches Lu Yi and asks what happened and who was attacking them. Relieved that her gear didn't drop, Lu Chen, now disguised, decides he needs to get out of there before she finds out. He then travels to a remote mountainous area. There, he decides to set up the dungeon at the foot of Renai Peak. The path will be blocked, making it easy to defend and hard to attack. With a gesture, he raises his hand, and a pillar of light descends from the heavens, creating the dungeon's entrance. He decides to go in first to see what the dungeon is like. Seeing not a single monster inside, he realizes he'll have to set everything up himself and decides to check the dungeon's attributes first. A system window displays the details of his personal dungeon, including entry conditions and access modes. Noticing a paid mode, He gets excited about the possibility of getting rich, concluding that owning a dungeon is a great way to make money. Analyzing the rules, he confirms the price is 1 yuan, and that copper coins also work. He decides to use the mixed mode, but first he'll level up the dungeon. After the dungeon is upgraded to level 20, he celebrates that charging 3 yuan per entry will create a very profitable business. Next, he sets the monsters to be leopards with maximum rewards, and the boss to be a level 20 abyss zombie that will drop exclusive items. With everything ready, he declares the dungeon open for business, while deciding that, for his part, he'll level up to 30 first. 10 minutes later, a group of players comes across the dungeon entrance, surprised it wasn't there before, and they decide to check it out. One player is blocked from entering and is shocked to read that it's a personal dungeon, and that players can create them. Another player explains that the dungeon's owner is a mysterious god of war, who monopolized the trading area before Anonymous, and suggests they start streaming. Starting the stream, the player asks everyone to watch his personal dungeon run closely to see what rewards are inside. Inside the dungeon, a player defeats a leopard and receives beast bones as a reward. The player's companions are impressed by the 1760 experience points, noting the monsters aren't difficult and drop valuable materials. The streamer informs everyone that the experience is higher than in the underground mine, and that a player is already fighting the boss. After the boss is defeated, the players get excited seeing it dropped a blue necklace and a yellow grade skill. On his stream, the player celebrates the incredible 9,000 experience points and the necklace, while viewers beg to know the dungeon's location. The player who completed the dungeon is thrilled to discover that a second attempt costs only 300 copper coins.